Can you hear me? Loud and clear? Loud and clear? Get out. All right. Wait, no.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Can you hear yourself really well?
Now I can hear myself.
Put your mic closer to your mouth. All right. Talk.
Hi.
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
All right. Sound good? Dad?
How can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have you guys both muted until it's time to unmute you. But show's about to begin, boys and girls. So I'm going to do a little advertising. Anything off limits? If you don't want me to bring it up? All right. Good enough. You've heard the show. You know what I do. So let's get this Mamma Jamma running. Get a little information out in front of me. Cut down this music. And unmute me. And blah, 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 blah. Welcome back to the 2218's Attitude for Gratitude weekly live podcast. Yeah. All right. So tonight we got Brad B and Shorty Doo-Wop in the house, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to do some Ride for Recovery talking. We're going to do some recovery talking. We're going to do some talking. So first and foremost, like I always tell you guys every week, is if you're struggling, please reach out. I put my number on the in the comments section. Utilize my phone number. I'm going to talk to you guys about places of recovery that you can go to if you're struggling. Check it out. Come on down here. There's so many different options that we talk about every week where you can go get some free help. And I don't know. Like I say, I look at 2218. We'll Work for Recovery, Serenity Village, New Hope, Fridley, Blaine, Allen, all these places, it's free help. You go down there and you check out a meeting, fellowship, make some connections. And if you're struggling, utilize those people that you make connections with. It helps save lives. So if you are struggling, you're worth the fight, man. Fight for yourself. Reach out. I love you. If no one's told you that today, let me be the first. I love you. We got the Ride for Recovery coming up. Being that Brad is very involved with it, I will go into more detail when I start talking to him about it. Otherwise, we do have some new meetings here at 2218. We have got Al-Anon back in the house, and that takes place every Thursday here at the club. It is at 7:30. And we got CMA back in the house every Saturday night at 6 o'clock. And then that is in room 21, I believe. And then every Friday night, we have got an LGBTQ plus and sensory friendly. Whatever, someone's going to explain that to me. I'm going to have some of them on the show. As of right now, I don't know what sensory friendly means. But I went to their group and asked how they'd like me to talk about this new meeting, and they brought that up, and I said, we'll explain it when the show comes about. So, other than that, we got a lot of things happening here at the club. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can reach out to me directly if you have any suggestions or ideas on how you want to see this podcast grow or anything you want to see out of this podcast. Make it your podcast. This is not mine. This is the Recovery Communities podcast. Any ideas, suggestions, we're wide open for all of them. If you'd like to become a member down here, there's a pledging statement that Rick and Jesse had given me last night when I went to one of the meetings they were at. And I'm going to read it real quick because every week I talk to you guys about getting involved down here and making this your club. And I don't have any real details with the exception of telling you like how it's changed my life, how it's helped me. It's given me some purpose. And let's not kid ourselves. It keeps me clean. It gives me something else to do than to be out running and gunning on the streets. So here's a little bit of details about becoming a pledging member. The pledge is an opportunity for recovery members who are attending meetings here at 2218 to help support it. What it involves is a monthly contribution of $15 per month for the first 3 months and then $20 per month thereafter. This is the main source of income for this club. That's what pays the expenses for this club to stay open. Pledging members have use of the club during the all operating hours for fellowship, for 12-step work, working with your sponsee or sponsors, whatever the case is, there's benefits to becoming a member here. A pledge to the club is in no way connected to AA, CMA, NA, any of the fellowships for which there are no dues or fees. If anyone would like to become a pledging member of this, if anyone would like to become a pledging member, or if you are a current member and you would like to pay your pledges, please see me whenever I'm reading what they say at the meeting. So come on down to the front desk. Whoever's there can help you with it. Or I put my phone number on here. Reach out to me. Or just come on down. Find a meeting. Check it out. And we can get that all handed. This was put together by the trusted servants here at 2218. If you've got like community service hours and you need them filled, come on down. They can do that here. If you just want to volunteer, we were going to have Jen on the show tonight. What's her last initial? B. Yeah, Brad B and Jen B. They were on a while ago, and we had some technical issues, so I wanted them both back. But she's down at Minac this weekend, along with tons of other people. That's a Narcotics Anonymous convention. It's huge down in Rochester. So she wasn't able to come on. But the reason I bring it up is she's really monumental in this club's beauty. She's the one who does all the planter boxes and does a lot of the picking up your guys' cigarette butts, my cigarette butts when I forget to get them in the ashtray. She picks up and cleans up and does a lot of manicuring and maintenance around here. And she volunteers. So what I'm getting at is this club is basically ran by all volunteers, and the volunteers, it's the grease that keeps the wheel spinning here at this club. The people you see sitting at that front desk that are there with information and trying to help, they're volunteering. And if you'd like to do that, come on down. It is the business. Tear it up. I told you I got a whole big bag of candy I put out here for the guests, and I used to bring, when Tad was here, we would always have Red Bulls for everyone. Get everyone all jazzed up. And I think we're going to get back to that. I don't think we do it anymore because it gets me too jazzed up, and I'm already jazzed up enough. So that's the other thing. This is an interactive show. If you are able to share the podcast, share it. If you're able to post a question for Brad or myself, or if there's something I missed, just put the question up there. Or if you don't want to put it on here, just reach out to me directly. I put my number on there for that reason. If for some reason I don't get your message, I know there's like 4 different feeds. So if you're on the Alano, Minneapolis page, the 2218 Attitude for Gratitude page, and the YouTube page, I will get those messages. But there's a couple other Facebook streams, and I don't know. Someone explained to me there's a bunch of different streams. So if for some reason you put a question out there and I don't get to it, just text me. You can direct message me, and I'll make sure that we get to that. Jane's Cafe. Tomorrow night, she's making sloppy joes and all the fixings that goes with it, and her homemade everything, cookies and candies and coffee. And if you've been down here, for $6 or $7, you're going to get filled up, and it's excellent. We just had some homemade cookies, and they were fire, and Brad didn't get one though. But come check it out. It's a very affordable dinner, and she puts her heart into it, and it's excellent. This weekend, we also are doing breakfast. We didn't do it last weekend because of Easter, and it's usually a pancake breakfast, but Sunday we're doing French toast, and it's going to be good. So come on down. Very affordable. I believe French toast and bacon, or French toast and sausage, or I think they do both sausage and bacon with some juice and what have you. So come on down on Sunday as well. You can get your eats on down here at the club. Yeah. Like I said, Ride for Recovery's coming up. Gopher State's coming up. Tons of stuff's happening. The summer is here. I know there's fellowship at Blainbrook Bowl on Thursday nights. There's Ham Lake Bowl, I think, does Friday nights, or volleyball. That's what it is, volleyball. There's tons of fellowship. And if you know of something, put it on the message board here. People utilize this all the time and go back and check it for stuff to do. So if I'm able to get Brad to tell us a little experience, strength, and hope for a few minutes while he's doing that, I'll try to update some of that stuff. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in this week. And like I say, share it, and hit that. Is there even a like button on these anymore? I don't even know if there's like buttons. So
There definitely is like buttons.
nice. So in the house, who have we got?
Greta.
Greta. Welcome, Greta. And
Brad Burgoyne.
Brad B. Well, this is a returning visit for you, I believe.
Yep.
Were you on at the ride? Did I get you to hop on?
For like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That morning's pretty chaotic for
Yes.
me, buddy.
Well, why don't you know what? Are you okay? You want to give us a little short experience strength, Hope?
Whatever you
As
want
much
me to
time
do,
as you
buddy.
want to spend on that, because I know last time with Jen, we did have technical issues the whole time.
I can
and-
hit it quick.
Yeah, I mean, however you're comfortable with, however
I'll
however
do-
it goes.
I'll do a pretty quick thing unless somebody has some questions they want me to answer, you know.
Well,
A little bit on what got me here is I was born an alcoholic. I was raised an alcoholic. Both my parents are alcoholics. Messed up home. About the only thing is they stayed married. It was sick, broken, messed up, and not fun. Not fun to live in. They probably should have divorced when I was young, and didn't. And basically raised 3 addict children. By the time I was 13 years old, I was a full-blown alcoholic, drinking every day. In school, had a little water bottle full of vodka in my locker, or Bacardi or whatever my parents were drinking at the time, because that's what I was stealing it out of their liquor cabinet. So, and then that carried on. I dropped out of high school I got kicked out of junior high school in 8th grade.
was it in
Had to
Minnesota
go
here?
I was in Coon Rapids.
Okay.
Got kicked out of junior high school in 8th grade. Had to go to the area's last chance, or ALC Learning Center.
Is that alternative?
Alternative
Okay.
Learning Center.
I don't know. Alternative, whatever.
We called it Assholes Last Chance.
And that was in 8th grade?
That was in 8th
Okay.
grade. I actually prospered there because you could learn at your own pace, you know. So I did really well when I
Really?
was in that, because I excelled. I could learn whatever I wanted to. I wasn't bored.
I know this is kind of going off the tracks, but were you able to just be able to get interested more, or like, what was the difference between regular school and that, and why did it work alternative?
I think it was because it was more one-on-one. It was
okay.
like you learning. Well, first off, there was 8th through 12th grade in the same classroom.
Oh, really?
So there was like 15 kids, 8th through 12th grade, same classroom, one teacher. You did all your subjects. You never left one classroom.
Okay. No chance to
little bit-
skip school either.
Right,
you
a
know?
little bit different than
Yeah,
the
it is.
area's
The standard
learning center is now. You know
Right.
what I mean? We're talking about in the 80s, so late 80s, early 90s. And I prospered there. I graduated from the 8th grade. They put me back into mainstream school in 9th grade. I did just fine. I went through 9th grade. And then I got to high school. And high school was a whole new experience. I skipped the first 14 days, which puts you in a position where you're not allowed back.
And this was at regular school.
Regular
Back
10th
to-
grade high school. The first day, the first day I jumped on the bus, I got on. I went to, 5 or 6 stops down, and I jumped off. Well, the bus driver was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm checking out. See ya." And whatever. I was not interested in school anyway. I just really wasn't. I don't know. Then there was a day I jumped off the back door of the bus because the bus driver was on to me jumping out the front door. So I jumped off the back door. I was like, he stopped the bus. I pushed open the fire exit. Away we went. I had a person that was skipping school with me on a regular, so it wasn't like I did it by myself. But and I don't even know what we did back then. I have no idea. We kind of walked around and did nothing, you know. But
Just
it was
wasn't
beautiful
at school,
September.
yeah.
We weren't at school, you know. Well, so then back into the ALC I went in 10th grade because obviously at 15 years old, you're not allowed to drop out yet.
So they put you, was it that same school?
Different types.
Okay.
Different. By then it had evolved a
Okay.
little more, and it was at the community college in Anoka at that time,
Okay.
or technical college. And I actually prospered there too. I finished 10th grade, and which was surprising because the odds were against me when I skipped the first 10 or 11 days
Yeah,
or 15
no
days
crap.
or whatever. But the judge said you either go here or you don't go.
Were they threatening you like juvie type deal?
They told me juvie until I graduated high school.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
like,
you're under 18 still.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. You can't keep me that long. So So I graduated 10th grade, moved on to go to 11th grade, and anyway, 11th grade didn't happen. I dropped out. I was 16 years old. I said I had enough. I wasn't going to finish high school.
Was it just party time or?
Party time, no rules at home. I was working 2 jobs. I mean, I
16.
already had a full taste of a full real paycheck. I
Right.
mean, I was making $12 an hour at 16 years old.
Yeah,
So
and you're older than me a little. I know I'm.
and I know
strength and hope.
I
is
know
someone
when
not
you talk about
interrupting, but
$12 an
yeah.
hour today, it ain't
No,
big
that's
money,
why-
But back in
yeah.
'92, $12 an hour for
Yeah,
a
that's
high
why I
school
was
kid
trying
was
to-
pretty
yep,
good.
Yep, the age thing is like back then. It'd be like making $25 now.
About,
that,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, somewhere in there.
and be 16 and get a check like that, $300 to $500 a week. Like, whoa.
So then I was renting an apartment, basically a lower level dungeon basement thing, 2-bedroom from a friend's dad, who happened to be my pot dealer. And life was good. And I was working full-time days and part-time nights for another guy and doing all kinds of stuff. My girlfriend at the time was pregnant, had a baby, so things were.
And this is all at 16 or 17.
I was at 16, turning 17
Okay.
in that range, and I mean I was partying every day, but I was
Weed
carrying that
and
party
booze,
with work,
weed and booze.
booze, a little bit of whatever else on the
Okay.
weekends.
Okay.
I was a carousel drug user. If you had it, I did it. I didn't care.
Round and round we go.
Once I had a drink in me, nothing else mattered.
Right,
It was
right.
that simple. And I say that because I was an alcoholic first and foremost. I drank first. No matter what, I drank first. And then everything else came second. Once I drank, who cares?
Right.
It's
right.
already over for today.
At this point in time, were you ever thinking that it wasn't even an issue in the back of your mind or anything?
No
Okay.
clue. I
All
had
right.
no idea. I mean, some people had told me that I probably had some problems.
Well,
you know,
don't. Yeah.
But those people, and then I just didn't hang out with them no more.
So
they
and-
weren't in my priority list.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. We cut out the people that either won't co-sign our BS or call us on our BS. Like they got to go.
100%.
What was the situation with the folks at this time? At 6, they didn't care. Or
Well, I moved out. I just bailed.
They had no say then.
Nope, I just bailed. I mean, I had already, from the time I was 13 to 16, I had worked full-time summers. So I had already had my own
Right.
everything. I mean, I paid for everything myself. So I was not sustaining on my parents' money anyway. You
Right.
know, not that they didn't help me when I was home, but
But that kind of made it easier for you to be like, I can do. I don't.
I can
need,
do what I want.
yeah,
I don't need
yeah,
you,
yeah.
you know, and nor did I want them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, realistically at that time, not that they were hindering my party, because we partied together, tons partied together with my parents. My parents would allow all my friends to come party.
Your
at our
house was the house we go to. Let's go to
100%.
Morgan's. No one
Go
cares.
to our house, and
Right.
my dad had a coffee can. Everybody throws their keys in. Nobody drives once they get here, type thing. I always
Right.
had a key under the, on the frame rail. I left no matter what. I was the good kid that never stuck around. You know.
So, like, a quick question about that. Someone asked about some school stuff, and I know I won't go back to it after. I know you're high energy like me. Like, someone said, not attention to, but like ADHD. Not even to say that, but what I'm getting at is with school. You mentioned something about going to an alternative is one-on-one. A lot of results now come out that people, for me, I'll use my own experiences. They said, school wasn't happening for me. It was more or less I was getting bored. There was nothing to hold my interest.
I wasn't challenged.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you've heard it. And would you
And that was
say
exactly
that was
what
it?
was.
Okay,
I was too smart for my own good,
right. Okay,
because I learned this last year. What do I need to learn it for this year?
right. So it wasn't
already know this.
it wasn't a situation as I don't understand this, so I'm shutting down. It's you couldn't hold your interest.
Correct.
Okay, so then you knock up or you get someone pregnant and
Knocked
you're
her up. You can
knocked
say
her
it the
up,
way it is.
16 years old, 17, out on your own. Then what? How's it going?
Her mom started chasing me with a shotgun.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
She shot at me a couple times. There's holes in the side of my
This
truck
was your
at
girlfriend?
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Her mom chased me with a shotgun, literally. Her dad was cool. Me and her dad were all right.
Really?
but Her mom and I, not so good. Her mom chased me with a
What
shotgun.
was it? You're wrecking my daughter's life type of deal, or just
Kind
in,
of.
like
Well, and
how
I think
you,
it was. I think it was. She saw herself
Oh,
in
with-
that,
yeah,
because
yeah.
she had a child in her
Really
high school
young.
years, and Well, and I mean, I really wasn't the model boyfriend. I wasn't the nice guy, you know. I mean, I loved her the best I could. I mean, I loved her with what I was taught. My dad taught me how to love women, and my dad loved my mom with a heavy hand.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yep.
I
Did you
only
see that
remember
growing up?
hitting her once.
Okay, that's what I
ever,
was getting at. Yeah.
And then learning that was not what I want to be,
so
like
okay.
right away, but it was too late.
Yeah.
At that point,
Right.
It was too late.
Right.
She had 5 brothers, so things weren't very good there either.
I don't imagine it would be.
You know, 4 older brothers and 1 younger brother. So yeah, I had a battle on my hands.
Yeah.
They beat me. A couple of them beat me pretty good, but I got the better
Do
end
you
of a couple.
have? Did you? I don't. Do you? You weren't an only child, were you?
No, I
you-
got 2 younger brothers.
That's right. Okay. So you have 2 younger brothers. She has 4 older, 1 younger.
Well, and also like 6 step siblings.
Oh
so
yeah.
she comes from a big
Brady
family.
bunch.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what? How's this going? Did
So
you have a kid? And
We had a kid.
Okay.
His name's Cody. He's an adult now.
Yep.
He's got 3 kids of his own. He's doing well as far as I know. I don't have a relationship with
okay.
him due to choices of my own.
Okay.
When we were 16, 17, 18, when I was
When you were
that
just a little
age.
kid still.
Well, and when I turned 19, she started dating what was one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to my house and said, "How do you like the fact I'm going to be your baby's daddy?" And I put him in the hospital
Oh.
twice. Not just once, because he didn't learn his lesson the first time, so I had to do it twice. And I was a fighter too, so that didn't help. And you definitely don't want to do something like that when I've got a cord in me or more.
Okay. So we're still at this age now.
I was probably 17 or
17.
18.
We're still because what
I actually had moved back in with my folks.
Okay.
Life had kind of derailed quite a bit. Like I couldn't hold a job anymore. I was drinking all the time.
When I want to know throughout your story, you keep going, but once you start having an inkling that alcohol, drugs, whatever could be an issue.
I was 18.
Okay.
Just turning like late 17, early 18. Alcohol was a problem.
You knew it.
I couldn't hold a job. I was jumping from job to job. I was working I was doing every construction job I could find. Anybody who would give me a job for a day or 3, just enough to get some more, you know.
And that's it. And 18, still just young still.
Yep.
Okay.
It was 3 months after my 18th birthday. I went out to a party, and there was a gentleman there dancing with my girlfriend at the time. Not the way a gentleman should be dancing with somebody else's girlfriend, needless to say. I went there with 2 friends. 2 friends carried me out the door, threw me in my car, and said, "Get the hell out of here before the football team kills you because you just beat up the quarterback." She was dancing with the quarterback of the high school football team.
Okay.
I commenced to breaking his nose, 2 of his cheekbones, and I knocked out 2 of his front teeth. And I think his eyeball wasn't in his socket anymore.
So you put a hurting on some guy. That was dancing
Yes.
with your girl?
That was
Okay.
dancing with my girl at a party. Well, needless to say, my car is in the driveway of this friend's house, mutual friend, whatever. Somebody parked behind me. Well, I don't know how many of you guys know what a 1980 AMC Eagle wagon is.
They're all 4-wheel drive, aren't they?
They are.
Yes.
I call it a mini Sherman tank because that's what it was. So needless to say, the car that was behind me was no longer behind me. I drove through the front yard. It was a little wet. Now, I turned 18 at June 1st. So, and this was 1993. 1993. June 1st, 1993. So this would have been September, October, somewhere in there. So it was kind of wet. Needless to say, I dug up their whole front yard when I did a shitty to leave their place, and their neighbor chased me down the block. Now, mind you, I did this in front of about 60 or 70
The whole party.
witnesses.
Yep.
Now, this part was just a piece of it. So then we went down the block. We stopped at the stop sign. I lit a cigarette, and I turned to look to my left, to look out the window to turn left, and in comes a fist through the window. Knocked my cigarette out of my mouth, which really pissed me off. So I go to open the door and put my foot down while I can't feel the ground. I'm that jacked up.
Yeah.
I can't feel the ground with my feet. So what do? The next best thing, I put the car in reverse and I run the guy over. This is what got me here. This is the part
Right,
that
right.
I'm
No,
sharing
yep,
of what got
yep,
me here.
yep.
That this is a series of events that happened.
This
that
is
night.
your catalyst.
Now, I
Yep, yep.
started that day at 7 a.m. drinking special export tallies at 7 a.m. and we finished a 30 pack while we fixed my car to go to this party. I commenced to drinking however many red Solo cups at the party. I had a Jack Daniels bottle under my seat that was a third full when the cops found it. And needless to say, I ran the guy over. I broke both his legs. This is in front of 200, 250 witnesses at
whole
this point.
party.
Well, the whole party plus the whole neighborhood,
Neighborhood.
because I had straight pipes on my car. It was extremely loud. Everybody knew I was leaving the party in the whole neighborhood. So needless to say, I had this happened in Coon Rapids. I had Coon Rapids, Blaine, Anoka, Hennepin, or Anoka Sheriff's Department.
Everyone.
There was like 55 squad cars out looking for me. And I mind you, I was driving the Sherman tank. So I didn't stop for very many things. A squad car was number one of them. I don't know how many people remember back in the day when the sod fields used to be off of 93rd Avenue or 103rd. I don't remember the exact road, but I come down Foley Boulevard barreling, and I turned left to go towards 65 and off into the sod fields. I ended up in the sod fields. I don't know how. I couldn't make the corner, whatever. I'm in the sod field, and I'm tearing it up,
Just having a good
because
old
I'm trying to
time.
figure out how to get the hell out of
Right,
the damn thing.
right.
And it's sliding. It's not.
It's wet out and they're in a
Right.
four-wheel drive and smashed.
And we're in a sod field. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to drive a car in a sod field, but
No.
it doesn't work very good. It's like driving in a
Mud.
manure pasture.
Yeah, it's all slick.
I did finally get out of it, and I got back up onto the road, and they had a roadblock for me, and I had pinned 2 Suburbans with my car, knocked them out of the way, kept going, made it about another 14 miles before I hit a telephone pole, took the telephone pole down. My car stalled. Finally. So I jump out and I try to run, and I don't know how many of you guys have tried to run when you're drunk, but I'm pretty sure it's like 1 step backwards and 1.5 step forward. Fell on my face a couple of times. It had to be a hell of a sight. The cops shot at me with the beanbags. They hit me a couple of times with the beanbags. But when I heard the 9mm go off, I knew shit was real.
Yeah.
So that was when I laid down, and I just stopped. The beanbag didn't bother me. They tased me twice. Didn't slow me down. The taser just pisses me off, so they learned not to do that. Now, mind you, by this time I had a lot of interaction with the Coon Rapids Police Department. They
knew you by name.
They knew who I was. He came up to me and he said, "Brad, are you done screwing around yet? So we can go to jail and deal with this the right way. By the way, you're an adult now. You're screwed." And this is exactly what he said to me. Now, the arresting officer is one of my best friends. Just so
Today?
you know.
Or at the time.
I wouldn't consider him one of my best friends today. I would say he's an acquaintance. We've
Okay.
talked. I've made amends. I've worked with him on a couple of occasions.
Okay.
I've done 12-step calls with him. Not because he's in the program, but because he's called me with guys that he's had
Because you're in the
troubles with.
program.
Because I've worked a program
Yes.
of recovery.
So off to the hoot scow you go.
So off to Mercy Hospital first. They need to do a blood test.
Oh, yeah. We got to see how, pardon my language, we got to see how fucked up he is.
Then they brought me to the padded room at the Anoka County Jail because they were afraid I was suicidal. I mean, realistically, I was probably more prone to dying in my own puke
Right.
than anything, so I think they wanted me under camera. I
Right.
woke up 4 days later not knowing what I did. Most of what I just shared, I read.
Right.
I did $58,000 damage to public service vehicles.
And you guys remember, this is 20 years ago.
This is 20 years ago. It was
Yeah.
a felony.
Yeah.
It was
No,
a
I mean,
felony fleeing police. It was a felony
That'd be a
criminal
couple
damage
$100
to
grand a
property.
day just on price.
Just on the
this-
vehicles
yes,
would have
yes.
been that. I wrecked 2 full-size Suburbans, 2 regular squad cars.
Put 2 kids in
Took
the
a
hospital.
telephone pole. I put 1 kid in the hospital and broke a guy's legs. It was actually a neighbor of the homeowner who I put in the hospital. And I'll get back to sharing a little bit about him later on because I have a little bit piece about him
Good.
to share later on in my story. And so I wasn't done yet.
I get,
Just so you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I went to jail. I did 6 months in the county Huskow. I went to the workhouse. They sent me to this day treatment program. I did a little bit of, okay, I'm better. I'm
weren't ready.
good. I don't even remember opening the book.
Okay.
All right. I don't remember ever even being there. I know I went to that treatment facility, but I really don't even remember being there. That's how that's how engaged in this treatment thing I was.
Yeah.
I got out of the workhouse about 6 months and 10 days later. I walked from the workhouse because this is how many people cared about me at this point in my life. I walked from the workhouse back to Coon Rapids.
Parker's Lake?
No, from Anoka County, right off of 4th Avenue there in the workhouse up by the state hospital.
Yep.
Walked from there to the VFW in Coon Rapids and commenced to getting drunk in my booth. Now, mind you, I was only 19 years old, but I had a booth at the VFW. The bartender there didn't know I was only 19 years old. I fit the bill, and I'd been throwing $100 bills at him for a long time, so he was okay with feeding me booze all day long. Cashed my check with him even. You'd think he'd check an ID sooner or later, nah, cash that check.
Yep.
Right. I tip well.
That's usually how it goes too.
Pretty much had my name on that chair,
Norm.
When I did turn 21, I did share my ID, and he drinks around me all night that night because he was really worried that he was going to jail for something. But whatever, he was a good dude. I just took advantage of him like I did everybody in my surroundings at that time in my life. And anyway, I made it 4 hours and 14 minutes from jail to drunk. And I stayed from jail to drunk because that was when I took my first drink. I can't say that I was drunk absolutely every time I drank, but I can tell you that absolutely every time I drank, I ended up drunk.
Right.
So I always say I got drunk right away. The first drink got me drunk.
Yeah.
I did the weekend warrior thing. I straightened out my shit, went and got a job, worked the same job for 4 years, 10 months, and 19 days.
Okay.
And I got a DWI in Hennepin County. 4 years and 10 months of 5 years of probation. I had less than 2 months to make it to get off of my probation before they sent me to the penitentiary.
So they got to throw the book ski at you?
Now, mind you, this is my 8th violation by this time because, I mean, through that first year, I probably did 5 or 6 driving after revocations. Now, mind you, I didn't have a driver's license for 3 years. So, I had owned like 9 cars, and I just drove a different car all the time. Never had a car in my name. I just did what I had to do, right? Well, I did work. I mean, I had to work. So I got a job, and I started working for a trucking company. The guys gave me a hell of a chance. You know what I mean? They really did. And I loved that job. Still to this day, it was my favorite job I ever had, and I lost it because of my drinking.
Because of your drinking.
Because I started
at this
drinking,
point, this was 4 years in after you get out that 6 months, and now we're almost 5 years.
Almost
after.
5 years after.
Okay. And you had 5 years over your head.
And I had
no same or similar,
no
whatever.
Same or similar. 5 years of supervised probation. You got to go in the monthly meeting and pee in a cup and do whatever. Blah 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 blah. I think everybody who's ever had anything to do with the system understands what I'm trying to say there.
Quick side note, Curtis, thank you for checking in. Brian, congratulations tomorrow. Curtis, hopefully you're on the mend. We know you just had some surgery, and thanks for the support, guys. And Brad, keep on going.
So then, I was 4 years, 10 months in, got a DWI in Hennepin County. No idea what I was doing in Maple Grove. I have no idea. I was driving from Coon Rapids to
And this was
Blaine.
on the weekend?
It was on a weekend.
You were sticking to just weekend stuff?
Just weekends. I didn't drink during the week.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that. I was trying not to drink during the week.
Yeah, okay. But you were making your job. You were
I
being
was going to work every day. I was working 60, 70-hour weeks.
All right, so they can't see the air quotes, but you were being responsible.
I was being as responsible as I
air
could
quote,
be at the time.
responsible.
Right. I mean,
okay.
What I thought was responsible, at the time. And I was devastated. I really was. I was devastated. It pretty much sent me into a spiral. I threw away everything.
That crushed you.
That DWI, I threw away everything. I just started right into the bottle. I mean,
so
literally.
with the DWI, did you have repercussions? I mean,
they ROR'd me the next morning. They didn't even
Oh.
keep me overnight. They kept, I mean, literally booked me, took my fingerprints, and sent me on my way. My parents picked me up. I was driving my dad's truck when I got the DWI. Yeah,
so
there
then it was
some
just you
serious
took,
messed up
You
stuff
just
that
took
went
your
with
foot
that.
off the brake. It was go time.
It was go time.
Okay.
At that point, I knew I was going. I knew it was over. There was
Right.
no stopping. The judge I had was putting me in prison. I already knew that, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what. Hadn't seen her in 3 years, but I knew she was putting me in jail. And I was going to prison to finish the rest of my time, which
Mm-hmm.
was about little over 6.5 months. And I did. I don't remember walking into court that morning, September 1st, 1998. I do not remember getting booked into jail that
Because you're
day.
just that wasted
Well, I,
or hungover or whatever or what.
I was still wasted.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
I would say 2.5 bottles of Bacardi that night.
So, did you? How do I even ask?
I should say blacked out.
Did
not
you know
wasted.
you were like you said at 18 you knew, hey, alcohol is a problem for me.
Yeah.
It's a problem. But at this time still you knew it was a problem.
But I never tried to quit.
Okay,
I
all
never
right.
tried to control my drinking.
Okay.
I mean, other than doing the weekend thing
Mm-hmm.
and not be a good boy all week. Be a good boy all week.
Okay.
Be a good boy all
It
week.
was just
be a
waiting
good boy
for the
all
next
week.
drink basically, always.
I can white knuckle it till Friday. Well, in my case, it was Sunday night to Thursday morning. So, because I worked overnight
Right.
shift. Well, Sunday nights were a real struggle.
I imagine. So then you get sent away.
I got sent away.
Okay.
I lost my job. My job that I'd been working for 4.5 years, and
Favorite job.
yeah, I loved it. I loved my job. It was probably the only thing keeping me alive, really. You
So
know what
all
I mean?
these things added up like you were crossed.
I had a couple more kids in the meantime.
Okay,
Got
yep.
married, blah, blah, blah. None of that really matters because she was just another rug to
Right,
stomp
right.
my feet on the way in the
Okay.
door. I did support them as best as I could,
Mm-hmm.
but I paid myself first. I made sure I had enough.
Brad
no
was
matter
number
what,
one.
always.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, so when I went to the penitentiary, I did not expect to have happen what happened. So I went there thinking I'm free. Finally going to be able to do my time and do whatever the hell I want when I get out of here. The hell with everybody. I'm
Okay.
going to do me.
So in your mind, this is a fresh start.
It's a fresh start.
Okay.
It's a fresh party. That's what it
Okay.
was.
Okay.
It was a
All right.
fresh party.
Okay.
Triad treatment program in the penitentiary had a different story for me. So I got put into Triad. Anybody who's been to the penitentiary in Lino Lakes has been to Triad. I do know a few members that are a member that have been through that program. Not many, but a few. And I went through in their early stages, still a brand new building. It was super new to the facility. You hardly ever saw SWAT in there. You know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah,
if you've ever
right.
been to the pen, but
No.
SWAT comes through you and you better look out. They're flipping everything over, looking for whatever the hell you got. But you hardly ever seen them in the treatment program. They'd walk through with their dog, their sniffer dog, and that'd be about it. They didn't flip your shit over. They didn't tear your room apart unless they knew you were doing something wrong.
Okay.
And then they specifically knew you were doing something wrong.
They knew.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a snitchers program, which I didn't really like all that much. So I kind of stuck to myself and
The
did my own
triad
thing.
program?
Yeah, it was,
Okay. Did that knock time off or was it just what you had to do?
Well, in order to release on my release time, good behavior, I had to do this program.
Okay.
They'll tack 60 days onto your sentence if you didn't do it.
Okay.
I had an option. I could have not done it and
Right.
tacked the 60 days
Yeah,
on.
2 more months after that.
Yeah, well, 2 more months wouldn't have been that big of a deal, honestly, where I was at.
I guess,
It really
okay.
wasn't. I mean, the most they could have done is 4 total. So 2 more months, then I only got 2 months of parole instead of 4. So do what you want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's where I was at that point in my life. And, but like anybody, like any good addict or alcoholic, I wanted to get out of there. I didn't like being caged up. So meanwhile, I'm in the penitentiary. My second boy with my first wife was born during that time.
Okay.
Missed Christmas, missed Thanksgiving, missed, Valentine's Day, which wasn't that important, but on to, missed everything from September 1st to March 11th, 1999. So 98, September 1st, 1998 was my first day in the penitentiary. March 11th, 1999 was my release date.
Okay.
And about, I'd say somewhere in February, something clicked or popped, or I got hit over the head with that, imaginary 2x4 or 4x4 or whatever you want to call it. I was free. Sitting in a penitentiary, looking out the window at a huge turbine fence, and I was at the freest I've ever been in my life.
Spiritual awakening?
Spiritually free. I was free.
Okay.
I heard somebody speak my story in that facility.
Was it someone that brought a meeting in, or was it another inmate?
It was actually a counselor there
Okay.
that shared his experience with us on a whim. I don't even know why he did.
And you found
and I don't even
yourself in
remember
that.
his name at all. I don't remember his name at all, but I found myself in his story. It was the
So
first time
okay.
I heard somebody share my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, holy Jesus. Maybe
Was it a I'm not alone feeling?
exactly.
Okay.
It's like all of a sudden everything clicked. Like, now I know exactly what's wrong with me.
Okay.
It was a ha-ha moment. Aha.
Right, yeah.
I know exactly what's wrong with me. Maybe there is hope. Because realistically, I didn't have a chance. I really thought I was going
In
to
your
die
mind,
by the
you're-
time
yeah.
I thought I was coming out to really put a needle in my arm and kill myself.
Right.
I mean, not really, but
Yeah, no, I hear
so a
what,
sense,
right.
I mean,
Like, I don't care if I live or die, it's
put
go
the
time.
bottle to my mouth and
Yep.
pull the trigger,
Right,
know.
right.
And I mean, Greta's listening to this, but she was not even a thought back then. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We're talking 1998. So I had already planned the party. I had to unplan a party. The government did that for me.
They did that for
just
you.
so you guys know. I didn't have to do as much unplanning as I thought.
Well, we have tons of people come on the show and say, like, at the end, we're going to say, what are you grateful for? But there's also people that tell their story and say, like, I'm most grateful for that officer who pulled me over. I'm
So-
most grateful for that judge who threw the book at,
I am. I
And it
am
takes time to realize
extremely
it,
grateful
so-
for that judge that threw the book at me finally,
Right.
who has multiple DWIs, who is a member of this program, who I've been to meetings with, who I've went
Who
to her house and
understands.
sat down and
Right.
had a burger with her and
Right.
shared my experience, strength, and hope with her afterwards, about a year clean.
Gifts
She
of the
happened
program.
to be a neighbor of my in-laws.
Wow.
So that just kind of adds to my story a little
Right.
bit, the dynamics of how recovery touched my life at that point. Does that make sense? How
100%.
recovery came around to work in my life. When I got out, nobody was there to support me. My younger brother, Barry, was sober. He had went to an outpatient treatment program. He came to visit me one time while I was in prison, 6 months. And he said, I'm going to stay sober. When you get out, if you want to stay sober, let's go to a meeting. He brought me to my first AA meeting.
Your brother.
My brother did.
Okay.
My brother's no longer clean. I'm sorry to say that.
Hey.
He's made choices in his life that have brought him back to the other side.
But
I
that's
can only
his
pray
story.
for him.
You know that. And like you
100%.
just said, we'll pray for him.
100%.
It's not going to love him any less.
100%
Yeah.
there either.
Right.
And he's making horrible choices today. I won't share a whole lot of his
No.
choices
Well, that's
today.
his
but
story. Yeah.
they're not good. Talk to his yeah.
Well, we just, you know what? Here, anyone who maybe just tuned in and just heard him say he's not making great choices, you just heard Brad talk for 20 minutes about not great choices. So we all do it. Like, it doesn't define, it might define who I am right now in this moment of what I'm doing, but not forever.
But the choices got better right here, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
This is where the
yes.
choices got better.
Now this
So-
is the gift. The
So-
whole part.
So I get out, and the government put me on a bracelet for the 4 months of my parole, just so you know. So I could not do anything without their permission. So the 4 months, I didn't have to worry about a party.
There was no option, or you're going right back.
Correct.
So is that a step down or a reentry to
it
society,
was
or
a
this was part
intensive release.
Okay, all right.
I was on ISR,
ISR.
intensive supervised release.
Yep.
I had to check in with her every single day in the morning. I had to give her a schedule of what my doings were going to be, what time I was going to be home. My curfew was 9 p.m. Unless I was going to an AA meeting, which
That
I
was
went to
your
7 a
yes.
week.
Yep. No, I know. I did
Because
the
at
same.
that point, I went to 7 meetings a week.
Yep.
I'm like, it's my only out.
Yep.
That freaking Alano Society just became my freaking
Yeah.
bar. And that's exactly what it did.
And it's a
Anoka
blessing.
County, or Anoka Today Alano Society which is now on Ferry Street. At that time was in the old house on Monroe.
Yeah, because the note
Had 12 steps to go downstairs in the smoke-filled rooms, and yeah, it was.
Yeah, you're old school.
Yeah, it was
So
good,
when
dude.
was,
It was really good.
Do we say when? What's the last date drink for you? What is it?
My clean date is September 1st, 1998.
Okay,
24 years ago.
24.
I will be if God lets me be 25 this year. If
yes,
He lets
sir.
me.
25. That's a quarter. So you're at home on a ankle bracelet.
And it's working wonderful because I live in a trailer house at this time. And you
Okay.
know how trailers are. You know, they're like big steel boxes.
Yes.
This thing's going off all the time. I'm mowing the yard and cops
Yeah.
are showing up at my door. I'm
Yep.
outside smoking a cigarette. Cops are showing up at my
Yep.
door. This thing's, I mean, it's just a pain in my ass. Now, mind you, I'd been sober the whole time I was in. I got out. I didn't receive a key tag because I didn't feel like I earned my time when I was in prison.
See, a lot of people just
So
I
I'm
always
gonna
yell
go back to that a
weekend in
little
jail
bit.
times
I'm gonna-
count.
I know, but I'm going to go back to that. So I'm going to share a little bit of awakenings in that too, because I was really, really, really ashamed to count that time at first. So when I got to Anoka today, I went to the meeting. I went to every Saturday morning meeting. That became my home group.
Okay.
I'm still friends with about 4 members of that group today.
From 24 years, from 20 years ago. Yeah, 24.
23 and a half
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
Through working with them, not doing any steps. Now, mind you, I didn't get to the whole sponsor thing yet. I mean, I was given this thing like a year. Somebody said to me right when I walked in the door, "Give us a year. If you still want to use, we'll put you right back in the same misery you had."
Yeah,
And I
right,
said,
right.
I'm gonna white knuckle a year, and we'll see how.
I'll show
good
you
it'll be."
guys.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I did, right? Well, they had other plans too. So anyway, I'm going to this meeting every Saturday morning. About 4 months into it, 3 months into it, something like that. They had extended my parole time out to 6.5 months. My PO comes and cuts my bracelet off of me because she said, "I'm tired of being woke up with phone calls and blah, 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 blah. This is BS having to come and deal with your damn bracelet. I'm cutting it off. You're good to go. Call me, check in with me, leave me a message every night at 10 from your home phone number."
Because they're bugging her every time you're out.
Every
smoke-
time I'm
it
out
goes
smoking
off.
a cigarette, every time I'm sitting in the front yard in a lawn chair, every time I go to get the lawnmower out of the shed. I mean, it didn't matter. It was
She was getting sick
she
of
was
it.
getting sick of it. And mind you, I'd been doing the right thing. I went, got a job. I was going
Checking
to
in,
meetings.
you're
I was
doing-
checking
yes.
in.
Yep.
I mean, I got a job in 4 days.
Okay.
Most penitentiaries said, "You guys, they don't get a job right away." I was a cement laborer. I took the first thing that came along. Buddy of mine says, "Hey, I got a job for you. You're gonna hurt like hell." I said, "Here I go."
Here I come. Yep. Hell yeah.
You know, $12 an hour. Here I come. Whatever it is, I'm taking the job, first job that comes my way. And I was able to make it through, you know, and grateful for that job today. I did walk off of that job, pissed off, angry as hell. Whatever.
drink over it.
I did not drink over it. And you know what? Everybody on my crew did drink, and I didn't.
Yeah,
drink.
that's it. Yeah, you're doing concrete, bro. Most yes.
There was one guy on my crew that didn't use or drink anything, and that's because his whole family was. But he wasn't one of us.
Okay. He just
He just didn't.
Yes.
He didn't
He
partake.
was a normie.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. I think he just didn't partake in the meeting side of things.
Okay.
Anyway, that was about 6 months. I was going to, like I said, 7 meetings a week. I was going to Gopher State. I was doing
You were involved.
World Convention 2 years into this thing was here in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
and I went.
Was it Metrodome?
I went
Wasn't
at
it
the
there?
Metrodome.
Yeah.
and,
I've seen
and I didn't
pictures.
have the money to go. I had to beg my alcoholic parents to pay for it. I asked my mom. I said, "Mom, all I want for my birthday is this. Can you please buy me a ticket for this convention?" It was $100 and some bucks. I couldn't afford it.
Right. Yeah.
I was working and trying to raise 2 kids. You know, I didn't have the money,
Mm-hmm.
and she paid for my whole weekend. And I was of service to people from all over the world, sitting in the Metrodome next to a guy that had 52 years of recovery.
Yeah, I've
from
heard
Mexico.
awesome stories about that.
Insane. Running into him 4 years later in Phoenix, Arizona at a speaker meeting and getting to share my experience, strength, and hope to him
Dude, that's
at 56 years clean, at his clean time.
That's yeah.
You know what I mean?
High
Like
power shit.
that's
Yeah.
the big man shit.
Yeah.
and
100%.
and yeah, I continued to do the
Yes, okay.
I continued to do the right thing for a long time in staying in that sickness of that first relationship. I went through a couple of jobs. Relationships were still my hard suit. Step work was still not happening. My ex-wife kept a bottle of my alcohol of choice above the refrigerator. Things were not good. Things were not good. At this point, I was still with my first ex-wife. I was with her for almost 10 years. Went through working with the concrete guy. I left him. I started working with a guy in recovery. Turned out to not be a great fit for me.
Okay.
He told me that, I planned my oldest daughter was getting married next week or a couple weeks from now. Her May 20th. Thanks, Greta. Greta knows.
It's the scheduler here.
Her first birthday, he told me that I had to work that day, and we scheduled the birthday like 3 months ahead of time. And I said, I am not going to be available
Right.
that day, no matter what.
Right.
And he said, well, you either show up to work or quit. And I drove the freaking company vehicle up to his house and I left.
There you go.
I'm done today. So at that point, that was another turning point in my life, though, where I grew leaps and bounds.
Okay.
Because I think that job was keeping me where I was at. I was stuck. So then I went and I worked for a temp agency while I put in the application for working with the railroad.
Okay.
And I started with the railroad 6 months later. And that, hold the hell on. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the railroad, if anybody doesn't know,
Yeah, break
it
this
has
down.
been probably one of the hardest careers I've ever had to stay sober in. But it has also afforded me to do a lot of great things in this program.
Well, the hours alone, I just look, just like your last month of
I don't
life.
even want to tell you
I-
about it. 246 hours in the month of February.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
The month of March was 219.
Yeah.
And that's not counting time in a hotel. So add every other day I'm in a hotel.
Like you're on track to
ish.
make, like you're on track to hit your yearly hours in 8 months with those numbers. Like
Easily.
you do 2,080 hours a year at a 40-hour week. And those numbers, because after I talked to you, I
It's
started
like
doing the
seven
numbers.
and a half months I can
Yes.
make
Yeah.
your average person's
yes.
yearly income or
And you're
yearly
union.
time. I am union.
It's a great job, but
it's
it was
a
challenging.
great blue collar career, but it is a lifestyle change. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Yep.
Christmas is just another day. They
Yep.
don't care about Greta's birthday.
Yeah.
They don't care about whether or not I have her on the weekends. They don't care about your podcast.
Yeah, I knew that. Hey, we knew that going into this. Remember, we talked.
Yeah, and,
We knew.
and so there's some things that have really hindered my recovery during this time. Now there's some things that have really grown my recovery during this time as well. I'm fortunate enough today to have enough time at the company
got
that I've
seniority
got
now.
some
Yeah,
vacation.
yes.
Realistically, I've got some vacation. The seniority isn't doing me a whole lot of good as far as jobs and things like that, but I've got some vacation.
Right, right.
So I'm at least able to make a couple of
Schedule
events
some-
every
yes,
year.
Yep.
So
Well, I know about. We'll get to some other stuff in a little bit here.
So there's-
Cruises and
So
whatnot.
yeah, it's
right.
afforded me to do some pretty big vacations
right,
in my life.
right.
I've been to Alaska in the last 5 years. We'll get to that
Yes,
because
'cause I'm
that's
excited
with my
to hear.
current wife.
Yep, yep.
I mean, we're not there yet.
No.
We're so far away from the current wife that it's unreal. So then anyway, 4 years into not even 4 years, like 2.5 years into the railroad, I have my fourth child with my ex-wife, who, mind you, she was my rug. She was my doormat. She was a stepping stone of the world. I really didn't care about her.
Right.
She
walked
was-
all over.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was what it was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she was what she was, and she did the same thing to me. It wasn't like I
Right.
was.
It was
one-way
mutual.
straight.
It was a mutual disrespect.
And it continued to be a mutual disrespect for still going on today.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. I don't care what she does today. I
Okay.
think she cares more about what I do than I care about what she does, but I don't care. I'm past that. 4 years into working with the railroad, I came home and she was sleeping with my brother. And
okay.
and that ended that whole thing. It wasn't just that. I mean, I made a million mistakes in that time.
Okay.
So it wasn't just her, but that was the stone that broke the camel's back. And that was the end of what once was a relationship and now became a family feud forever. and has continued to be that. We
Greta's
don't talk.
nodding her head. She's like, yep.
We don't talk a whole lot about that around the house.
Okay.
Greta's hearing more about that right now than she's probably ever heard. But if she's heard this, she's heard it not from my mouth.
Okay.
She's got 9 siblings, so she's heard a lot.
11.
11.
siblings.
Yeah, and
There
that
you
you
go.
hear
That's
more
just
from. Yeah.
not counting her mom. I wasn't
Right,
counting her
right,
mom's
right.
side.
So recovery. You know what? No, I'm pumping your brakes on this. You're at 4 years at the railroad, but you're still in recovery. When did you first catch the message? When did you first really get into working steps? I mean, not just showing up and being there in person. You know what I'm asking.
So I would say about a year and a half in,
Okay.
I started working a 3-step program.
What the fuck? What's a 3-step program?
What is
3-step program. I worked 1, 2, and 3, and that's it.
Okay.
I was afraid of 4.
Yeah, a lot of people
Really
are
afraid of that
Yes.
4-step, because it's got so much fear in it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Realistically, that's really what it was. And that home group that I went to during that time before the railroad for 4 years, I went to a home group every Thursday night. It was a big book study. There was one gentleman there that said, "Why are you waiting to get better? Why are you waiting to get better? Why are you waiting to get better?" So I finally asked a guy to be my sponsor, my first sponsor. Worked step 1, 2, and 3 with him. We started to dabble in 4, and I pulled back and ran away.
Fear.
And then I started with the railroad. So then I was gone.
Yeah,
We
then
didn't
you had
have
a
to
great
worry about it,
excuse.
right?
Yep,
I didn't have any time in the world. So fast forward, he relapsed, moved on. He did his thing. I went sponsorless for a little while. And it wasn't very long, not very long, because now mind you, my schedule wasn't very friendly. And at this time of my life, I was involved with not just AA, I was involved with Crystal Meth Anonymous.
Okay.
So my trip to get to the program that I call my home group now, which is Narcotics
Yeah,
Anonymous,
NA. Yeah.
was AA first, Crystal Meth Anonymous second. I worked in there for a year. Brought what I learned in working with the Alano Society at Anoka today, working with the board, working with people that were putting together events and
Okay.
being of service at
You were really involved.
I was involved with some good people that had some good time under their belt that taught me how to be of service. They taught me how to push the chair in. They taught me how to clean the ashtrays. They told me that no job here is unimportant. And that's what Tim was trying to say at the beginning of this podcast. No job at 2218 is unimportant.
Yep. Every aspect.
Every aspect from the guy who's sitting out on the front patio saying good afternoon every
Yes.
time you walk up to the door.
And
is
you
the
know what?
best
Side
spot.
note on that too. People don't understand this. You showing up to a meeting, sitting in a chair is of service.
100%.
It is, and it just sometimes really gets overlooked. And I go down this rabbit hole sometimes, but you just showing up, whether you share or not, being there, you might not understand, but someone else who's really struggling might look at you and see something that makes them more at ease and has them stay and their life gets saved. So you showing up, period, that's of service too. Every aspect of this is important.
So
as
through
it
that,
is.
So through that, I go into Crystal Meth Anonymous and I get with 4 people that want to start an intergroup here in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
So I'm basically getting involved at an area level now with Crystal Meth Anonymous. We started Crystal Meth Anonymous Minnesota. Went to 345 Crystal Meth Anonymous meetings in 6 months, all over the state of Minnesota, including the gay and lesbian meetings,
All of them,
including
yep.
we weren't really welcome there, the all women's meetings. I went to the business part and then I left.
Yeah.
I just asked simply, hey, I'm only here to share a message and then I'm going to get out of your way. I just want to be here for the first 2 minutes of your meeting.
And you were just basically there to help.
I was
grow
there
the
to
meetings,
bring a message that we wanted to start an intergroup,
Okay.
and we wanted them to be a part of it.
Okay.
They identified as a Crystal Meth Anonymous meeting. We wanted them to be a part of our group.
Yep.
We were meeting at a place called Sober City at the time. There was 4 of us, 5, 6 of us. Ended up being 12 of us by the end of it. We moved it down to the St. Paul Alano. I don't know where it is now. I don't know where they are in that.
Oh, I was going to say St. Paul Alano's still there. It's
Oh, no. I know that's still there.
okay.
I just don't know where Crystal Meth
meeting, yes,
Anonymous
okay.
holds their area stuff anymore.
Okay.
I know it's still going on. I know there's people that
Right.
are still doing it.
So you're part of starting that.
I did share a piece of starting that.
Awesome.
And that grew my recovery to a whole nother level. I met a couple of people there that pushed me through a 4-step.
Pushed you through a 4-step.
Not, and I say that because they told me that I can't sponsor anybody unless I work it. Healthy. I need to work that 4-step. So I did. I worked a 4-step, and I did it to the best of my abilities. And
What did it do for you? Let's kind of stop right there and talk about this aspect. You went. How long was it till you
exactly
got
how fucked up I was?
Well, yeah, it does. It makes you grab a mirror and get honest with that mirror. How long was it when you got pushed through that? What would you have? 3 years, 4 years, 2 years?
Closer to 6.
Okay, so at 6 years, and you say
I don't
clean.
recommend this to anybody.
No. At 6 years,
Take the softer, gentler route and take them steps, man.
yeah,
I'm telling
right
you.
away. I mean, our head wants to tell us that's not the softer way. It is.
It's the easiest way, easiest route to where you want to be. I'm telling you.
6 years in, you finally do this 4-step. What did this 4-step do for you? Sure, it give us the big picture of what this did for you.
I was freer then than I was in prison
Okay. Why?
because I was emotionally free.
Okay. Explain.
I was jailing myself emotionally. I wasn't growing. I was staying that same 12-year-old that I was when I identified myself as an alcoholic.
Was this just because you weren't looking at your, let's say, I don't like the word issues, but you weren't looking at yourself and what there was that
Well,
was.
I was still a self-seeking
Self-seeking, bondage of self.
I was still all me.
Yes. So at this 4-step,
I didn't care about
go
Tim.
ahead. Yeah,
I didn't care about Timmy.
Right. No, I
How's
get
that?
this. I get this.
I wouldn't have bought Timmy a shirt that
Right.
day. You know what
Asshole
I'm
garage. Everyone, you know what? Everyone, side note too, everyone who asked me about that sleeveless shirt, when I was in Arkansas, probably 30 people. Dude, where's
really,
that from?
really good dude. Not
Yeah.
a member, but he's freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
These shirts are baddest graphics on it, and I got my name on it, and it's called Asshole Garage. And Brad's the one who got it for me.
My wife actually found him for me. But
Well,
yeah.
I bid it on some, and it ended up being a woman's shirt. Whatever.
We fixed that. We fixed
Yeah,
that.
you guys did. Hell yeah. So this 4-step, it took you out of this bondage of self.
100%. I'm telling you, when the book tells you that you're going to be rocketed to a 4th dimension, it doesn't lie, man.
Yeah.
It brings you to, a whole, like the whole universe opened up.
Okay.
The chills still run through me when I talk about it because at that moment, now I'll do a 4-step today on the back of a matchbook. I don't care. I'll do it with the most newest guy in the room. I don't give a crap because you want to know what? I know that if I got to write it down on there, I got to get it off my chest
Right.
now.
Exactly. And
Because
I think
it's gonna
6
make me
years,
use.
6 years of going that long, being in these rooms, and still not.
Holy shit, my tornado was still big.
Yeah, it's. I don't even know how to
I
put
still
that
had to
into
make
words.
a lot. I had to make a lot of amends in this program. I still have amends.
We heard
to
the
make.
beginning of your story, for some of it,
Well,
not
and I
detailed
still have
details.
amends to make in these rooms.
Yeah, I get it.
Of members
in
that
these
were
rooms.
In these rooms.
Okay, so you finally do this 4-step. They push you through.
They pushed me through
All
it.
right.
And I did a 5th step and went through and sat down by the river and did my 6th step and 7th, 8th, 9th. I did it to the best of my abilities. We're going to stop at 9.
Good.
So number 8, where it says we made that list, I made that list. So remember when I was 18 years old and I ran that guy over?
Yep.
His name was on that list.
Okay.
He was on the never list.
The never list.
So I
What
got
does the
3
never
lists.
list mean? What does that mean? Yeah, tell
My
us.
sponsor told me to make 3 lists.
Okay.
He said never, maybe, and can't happen.
Okay.
All right. He was on the never list. I was willing, but I didn't think I was ever going to be able to make amends to him.
Okay.
I did get to make amends to him. I did not get to make amends to him directly. I made indirect amends with him because I walked into a meeting, shared my experience, strength, and hope, and his mother was there as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And at that time, I was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
So I shared a clear Alcoholics Anonymous message. I worked the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous at that point in my life. And I ran. I didn't know how to do it. I did not know what the hell I was going to say to this woman. Now, mind you, I'd been doing this program a little while at that time, 9-10 years.
Yeah.
A few sponsors, a few 4-steps, a few 8ths, a few 9ths. I mean, I just didn't know what to do, so I ran. And she was a member of my home group, so guess what? I got to see her every single week until I made those amends.
Did she come to you and say, "Hey, that's my son you're talking
She
about"?
says, "I think that's my son." 100%. Exactly. Timmy just got the shivery shakes.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened to me at that moment. And this is where the blessing of this program has come to fruition. I don't know where she's at today. I don't know if she's still sober. I don't know anything about that. I haven't seen her in a long time. She was a greeter at the Walmart near my house, so I seen her all the time, whether I wanted to or not.
Right.
Because, at that time I was pretty broke, so I was shopping at the
Walmart's where
Walmart
we're
a lot.
going. Yep.
And she worked the late shift, like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So, like, I seen her all the time because I would go on the meeting on my way home. And needless to say, it was about 2 weeks later, my sponsor said, you need to sit down with her. You need to have coffee, and you just need to have a conversation. Just a conversation. Talk to her like a friend.
What's going through your mind at this point when he says this? Because what I'm gathering is this sponsor gives you a suggestion, you're taking it, or you need to.
I need to. I
So-
need to look at it. At this point, this sponsor, if he told me I had a tail, I had a tail.
Okay. So
I trusted him that
What's
much.
going through your head when
I didn't need 3 opinions.
Fear? Is it just clean fear? Or is
100%
it,
fear. I was petrified.
Okay.
I was so afraid that this woman was going to cast me to hell, where I probably belong. You know what I mean?
shit. But in your mind, you're thinking this. Okay.
Yeah, and so I asked her out for pie at Baker Square. She's an older lady.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I
pie,
thought, hey,
coffee.
let's go get some pie and some coffee.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a piece of pie or dinner or whatever, but we need
chop
to
it
sit
up,
down and
yes.
have a conversation if
receptive
that's
to
okay.
it?
And she says, I would love to. And I said, do I have to pick you up or can you meet me there? And she says, I drive. I'll meet you there. All right. So I met her at Baker Square that night after the meeting. We fellowshipped at Perkins across the road.
Okay.
So we went to.
You guys broke off and
We
went
broke
over-
off
yep.
from our fellowship and we went to another place, which is Baker Square.
Okay.
Sat down, ordered pie. I started crying
Before you even could start talking.
before I could even start talking, and I shared with this woman that I don't know how I could ever repay her for what I've done to her son, or how I could ever make right with her son
Right.
for what I had done to him with what he was going through with his next phase of life.
Right.
Like he was just about to have kids and all this stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he was in his early 30s and
Yeah.
probably wrecked his sports career for the rest of his life. You know, he played softball, you know, and
Right.
yeah,
So, yeah,
it wasn't happening anymore, you know.
And she's one of us.
She is one of
So
us.
she knows what it is. And how does it go?
She said, you'll never be able to make direct amends. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
But I accept your apology. And she said, you keep doing what you're doing today, and I'll keep loving you.
She told you just a living amends is what you need.
That's all I needed to do. She says, there's no other amends that could ever be as great as not being the person I was that night.
There you go. Today that makes sense to you though. That
Today it makes perfect
makes
sense to me.
sense.
But at that point in
Yeah,
time, I'm
no, I
like,
get
oh my
it.
God, what do you mean?
Yeah.
How
No.
can I possibly?
I didn't know what living amends meant until about a year ago. It just didn't. I didn't get it. And it's basically just keep doing what you're doing.
100%.
Keep on this path. Keep helping people. Keep being of service. Stop the old lifestyle.
That amends rocketed my recovery to the next generation of life. I'm telling you, I went from that, working with this CMA stuff, I was doing pig roast with Fridley, Anoka, or more Anoka than Fridley. Anoka, I was hanging out with a couple of guys that went to Fridley. I didn't really dabble too much with them guys. They were kind of like, they weren't up with us in Anoka.
You just weren't jiving with them.
Right.
Okay.
So there was a lot of weirdos down there like that Curtis guy. Anyway, I met him a lot of years
goatees and-
later.
yeah,
I love him, but we
Hello, Moto. Sorry.
we kept going through life, you know, and then this gentleman in CMA says, hey, there's this thing going on out on Lake Waconia called Coney Island Gig, which no longer is an event for Narcotics Anonymous, but it was a Narcotics Anonymous event at that time. And I said, really? What is that all about? He says, it's camping on an island. And I said, well, how the hell do you get on the island? He says, well, you got to have a boat or you can just show up. And she's my island baby, just so you know.
Okay.
So you just show up, and you bring your boat or you show up with your stuff and they bring
Catch
you
a ride out
across,
there,
right?
yep.
Well, I'm like, I'm an addict, man. You ain't stranding me on no damn island. So I went out and I did what any good addict does, and I went out and bought a brand new boat.
Yeah. Buy a boat.
No, brand new boat, not just a boat, a brand new speedboat. Because I got to be better than the rest, right?
Of course,
We're still in that
we
phase.
still
of my
are
recovery,
us, yeah.
So, well, then I needed a truck to pull it.
Oh boy.
So needless to say, now I'm still with
So
that
60
ex-wife, and I showed up.
60,000 later,
Not
yeah.
quite. I
But
bought
yeah.
a $4,000 Suburban. And a $22,000 boat. But I pulled up in the driveway with my ex-wife and said, look what I got today. And she about killed me. Anyway,
boy.
how are you going to pay for that type thing? And I said,
Yeah.
I'll just work harder because I work for the railroad now,
Right.
and I just put in an extra day. And that's about what it ended up being. So we go to this island gig, and there was about 550 addicts on the island.
Oh, is that big?
Oh yeah.
See, I've only
It
heard
was-
stories about it. I've heard you
It
talk
was
about it.
it
yeah.
was huge. It
went on for a few years.
24 or 25 years.
Okay.
I didn't get involved until like year 13 or 16, 17.
But then every year thereafter, basically.
From then until the end of it,
Okay.
I was a part of, not just
You were.
I had to jive both feet, dude. I was in. They sucked me in, and I was in.
Why did it? You know what?
So I show up at the boat landing with, it's me, my wife, 2 kids, a boat full of brand new camping shit because it's
all new.
It's all new, you know what I mean? And now, mind you, I'm launching the boat for the first time. I mean, not really the first time, but first time after break-in. I'm still
Right.
new at this whole thing. And it's a shallow launch. And yeah, I had to back halfway across the lake to get the boat off the trailer because I got it weighted down with everything for camping.
Right.
And there's this little old lady and I shouldn't call her old. She's older than me.
Okay.
She's a senior member in Narcotics Anonymous who was there, who's senior me of 4 years in time.
Okay.
I think she's celebrating 28 or 29 years today.
Oh.
She's at Minac. Her name is Ruth T.
Ruth, I've had her on the
You
show.
have had her on the
I've
show.
had her on the show. She's an amazing story and a great medical physician person. Ruth T, the nurse, right? Short hair Ruth?
Maybe a different Ruth.
Okay, then I'm wrong.
No. She's not on Facebook, so you
No,
wouldn't
I'm
be able
not.
to
No,
find her.
I have her
But
picture.
so anyway, we pull up and I unload my boat and I get my Suburban out of the lake, which, mind you, with my feet were getting wet get the trailer. It was ugly. It was ugly. Let's just say that. It was the only time I ever launched there. I launched at that spot only one time. Get my truck up, park it, and she goes, "Are you going to the island?" And I said, "I am." And she says, "Would you mind making an extra trip over here with that big boat of yours and haul a trip or two of my stuff?" And I said, "Well, yeah, no problem. This is all you got. I'll be right back." Right. So me and the kids run over there. We unload all our stuff, and I jump in with one of the kids, and we run back over and load her stuff up that's sitting there, and she's gone. And then she comes back with her car, and it's full again. And we load that stuff up, and she says, "Yeah, when you get to the island, there's that little rock spot. Just set this stuff up there. There should be a little pile there already." Oh, okay. If you feel it in your heart to come back again, it'd be great. And I'm like, all right, whatever. This is kind of weird,
okay,
right?
That's where it's going. All right.
So I go over there and I set up my tent and I set up a couple other things. Now I had forced another family to come with me, and I say forced because I told them if they didn't pack their shit, I was packing it for them. They told me that they didn't have any money to eat. I told them that I had a cooler full of food. They told me they didn't have any
got
cigarettes. I bought them a carton. They told me they didn't have any gas. I filled up their
You
van.
weren't giving them a reason to
There
back
was
out.
no reason to
Okay.
not come.
All right.
So we got our camp set up, the 3 tents that we brought, and all our food stuff up there, and everything's organized. And I'm making trips for this woman, and I'm like, where the hell is she getting all this stuff? She's driving a little Ford Taurus, and I've already made like 6 trips with a 17-foot open bow speedboat, right?
Okay.
And we're talking 6 trips, loaded like a mountain of stuff. I'm like, she's the chair of the island gig, right?
Oh, wow.
She is the chair.
Everyone's dropping their stuff off with her. And
No, she is bringing all the stuff for the games, for the entertainment, for all the other stuff that's going on with the
Right.
event that I have no idea about.
Right.
And
This is your first time.
My first time, and so mind you, I help her all her stuff over. I made. Her husband shows up with this little 14-foot boat with a 15 horse on it, and he made 1 trip. I made all the rest. Find out he had a 28-foot camper parked up at the church right up the road. That was loaded with all their stuff for the island. And I mean loaded. 28-foot camper of all their stuff. So this is where my Narcotics Anonymous adventure had started.
Okay.
Was that day. So that night she comes over and she introduces herself. Hey, my name's Ruth. I'm an addict. Thank you so much for being of service. Come see me tomorrow about dinner time. I have something for you. And I'm like, oh, I don't need anything. I'm good. You know what I mean? And she's like, no. You really saved me. And Tom works for the railroad as well. So me and him have her husband, Tom, works for the railroad, works for another railroad, so we have a connection right off the bat. Greta's making connections on who's who and who I'm talking about.
Okay.
And to Greta, it's Uncle Tom and Auntie Ruth. Just so you guys, everybody's clear.
All right, they're close.
They are family to me today.
Okay.
And Greta, and anyway, I brought a speedboat. Like I brought a tube. I'm taking everybody on the island tubing. Like we're gonna spend $400 worth of gas. We're gonna have fun.
It's gonna be a blast. Okay.
So mind you, I got up at 7 a.m. and my 9-year-old's yelling at me, Daddy, are we going tubing? And I'm like, yeah, let me get out of this tent. Let me get some PJs. I'll get out of these PJs, and I throw on a swimsuit and away we go. Right? I got in the boat at 9 a.m. I didn't get out until 7 p.m.
All day.
We had to take the boat out of the water twice to put gas in it. I took absolutely everybody on that island tubing that Saturday. Anybody who wanted to take a chance at their life.
In your new speedboat.
In my new speedboat that I was trying to destroy in one weekend. Trust me, I was trying my best. And anyway, this formulated a relationship with many, many, many people.
I imagine.
That I still call friends and family today. These are my recovery family members today. These are the people that are dearest to my heart that I only seen once a year for many years.
What was the name of it again?
It was called The Island Gig.
The Island Gig, not Pig.
Nope, it was called The Island Gig.
Okay.
I didn't make my first appearance at Pig until 5 years ago.
Okay.
Many, many, many years into this.
Okay. All right.
This NA adventure. Now, I went to that NA event and went back to CMA, went back to carrying on my life with AA, CMA combined.
Wait, what did she want? She wanted you to come see her about.
She had dinner.
Oh, okay. All right.
She just made me a steak
nice.
Big, huge steak dinner with a big potato, corn on the cob, green beans. There was...
It was a...
Trust me, my stomach needed it because I just got off a boat for 15 and a half hours, taking everybody tubing, and I needed a bottle of water because I did not have any water in my system because I'm a good alcoholic addict.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this event kicked off my introductory to
Narcotics Anonymous
and introduced me to a friend that his name is Jim P.
Okay.
He's actually Greta's godfather.
Oh, okay.
He's my best friend.
Okay.
He's more of a dad to me than my dad's ever been.
Okay.
Older gentleman in this program, about the same amount of clean time as me, but you
guys connected.
We connected. He's what connected me with this island gig.
Okay.
So he calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to co-chair this event?" I'm like, sure. What's all entail? He says, just show up at the meeting and I'll help you out. So now I'm roped in, right?
roped in.
I'm railroaded. I'm told this is what's going to happen. And away we went, man, and we had fun. And we did this.
I've heard you
We
talk
did this
about
6
it.
or 8 times over the next 10 years. So it wasn't like we just did one and done, you know.
Right.
We did this together a lot. And he also invited me out to his property, which is what we call the farm out.
The farm out?
The farm out.
Okay.
It is not affiliated with Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous. It is a recovery weekend.
Okay.
It is 2 weekends a year, Memorial Day, Labor Day weekend, for those addicts and alcoholics that cannot afford to go to Gopher State or to another
Okay. Everyone's
big,
welcome.
expensive
Yep.
function. Everybody is welcome. We do not ask anybody to give us a huge donation of any
Right.
kind. There's no fee associated with it.
Okay.
First come, first serve camping. It's very primitive, but everybody's welcome. Whether you can afford to eat or not, don't deter that from you coming to
Okay.
this event.
You guys still do it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every Memorial Day and Labor Day weekend. It's
Oh.
been going on for,
Okay.
I think this year will be 17
Where
years.
is it? What town?
It is in Maple Lake.
Okay.
If you head west on 94 and you get to 37 and you head west on 37, you take 37 all the way out to Maple Lake. If you hit the airport, you went too far. If you hit town, you went too far. There's a dirt road. It's called Douglas Avenue. There's a sign, AANA with an arrow.
Really?
Turn there, dirt road.
See, though, I like this. Look at
Leave your bullshit on the tar.
See, I
Come
like
on
it's-
back
yeah.
into the dirt road. Follow the dirt road down. You can't miss us. We're on the right-hand side. It's about 1.25 miles off of the pavement. You got 1.5 miles to lose all your bullshit before you come in and visit us. Because when you get here, if you bring your kids, you will never be able to leave again. You will come back again, I promise. All the kids have more fun than us adults.
It's and you heard him. It's any fellowship.
It's any fellowship. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
a
don't
desire
care
to
the
stop. You're
affiliation,
welcome.
your desire to stop using. We have many AANA, CMACA. It doesn't matter. We've
yeah.
got Eaters Anonymous people that come, Sex Anonymous people that come. It doesn't matter. It's just people that come to be a part of this event.
Right.
And what I say is the people that can afford to do a little extra, bring a little extra. Those that can afford to not bring a little extra, just bring yourself.
That's
If you
like
can't
we're-
afford
yes.
a tent and a chair, trust me, we'll find you one.
That's what's up.
We will figure out a way. There's usually on Memorial Day, it's a smaller weekend. There's between 50 and 75 people that show up. And there's a core of about 40 of us that are there every year, no matter what, that we rely on to kind of carry the rope and carry the
I have
message.
to check that out.
And,
This year. I didn't know about this.
It's been going
And
for a
Brad,
long
just,
time.
you know what? Rewind the show. Tell whoever you want. He just gave you clean directions to get there.
100%. It's all good. And if you don't know how to get there and you want to go and
Can they reach out to me and I
you
can
can
get
reach
them
out to Tim. You
All
can
right.
call me 763-226-6981. Tim can put my number right on the podcast.
All right.
I don't
Say it
care.
one more time.
763-226-6981.
Yeah. 6981.
100%.
6981. All right, you heard him. And if someone's struggling, they need to reach out.
Call me.
There you go.
I'm a
That's how we
guy.
do
I'm a
this.
guy. The only time I don't answer my phone is when I'm at work because the FRA says I got to shut it off.
763
226
226
6981.
6981. Perfect.
That's for the guy who can't type.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Memorial Day is kind of a smaller deal just because Gopher State's going on, and a lot of our AA people are at Gopher State. It's the first. What kind of started it is it's the kickoff to camping, the camping season.
yep.
So we all, we want to dust off our tent, break out make sure the cook stove's working. For those of you that know about Farm Out, you know how we do it.
All right.
So Saturday morning, I make pancakes
Yeah.
for everybody. Just so
All
you
right,
know,
all
I
right.
do pancake breakfast on Saturday. If anybody wants a meat, they got to cook their own meat. I don't bring meat for that breakfast because pancakes are enough.
Yep. I've had your pancakes too. They're delicious.
Everything we do at this event is done family style, just to share.
Okay.
We've got a big, huge barbecue grill. We put charcoal in it at about noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. We fire it up. Burgers, brats, hot dogs, whatever you got, you bring it up, you throw it on the grill, we throw it on the picnic table. If you brought a steak and you throw it on that grill
It's
and
fair
you
game.
ain't there to get it when it comes off and hits that table, guess what? Somebody going to eat it. I'm just going to share that because I might be the guy eating it. It's family style. First come, first serve.
all right.
We try to do everything family style, including eating. We eat with each other. Everybody brings items to share. Friday night we usually do like a walking taco type situation. I don't know. I've got a Facebook group that I share with that if you get in touch with me and you want to be a part of this, I will get you into that chat.
Okay.
If you're on Facebook, if you're not, we'll share some things personally one-on-one that'll get you into what we need to do to make sure that you understand what this event's
welcome.
all about.
You're welcome.
You are
to come.
welcome.
Yep.
If you have any desire to stay clean and sober and just, dude, if you just want to come out for the day and hang out, there's no, like I said, there's no fee for camping. This does cost us money, just so everybody knows we rent biffies. For
it's
the
go
bathrooms.
time.
So there's 6 biffies that we rent. And if anybody's ever been involved in the rental business of renting biffies, they ain't cheap.
No, they're not.
It's like $300 and $400, $500 for the weekend or something absurd like that.
Right.
We kind of got to hook up with a guy. He's been dealing with us for a lot of years. So we do get a little bit of a break, but not a huge break.
Okay.
And if they get horribly, horribly bad, we can usually call him. He'll come pull them. Clean them up.
Okay.
But we do 4 or 6 biffies every year. Yeah. And basically what we want to do is we do 7th tradition just to hopefully recoup the cost of the biffies.
Yeah.
Some of the cost of, if anybody who's ever been there, if you know somebody who's been in recovery for a while, chances are they've been there. Chances are. There's some people around that have been there, especially if you know anybody that's in my circle. That Curtis guy, he's been around.
That Curtis
a
guy.
Bit. There's some other guys that know a little bit about it. That Paul Birch guy, that PB. Not to blow his anonymity.
Everyone's welcome.
Everybody is welcome.
Everyone's welcome. It's a big
Everybody.
event, and you're gonna have to give me info as I can start talking
So
more about it.
Memorial Day weekend is kind of the kickoff of it. It's rain or shine. We make the best of what it is.
And
It's
this
kind
is
of a
at
redneck.
John or Jim's property.
Jim's
property. Okay.
And it's kind of a redneck camping event. We do bean bags. We do whatever. You make this event what you want of
Okay.
it. This is an event that
Speak
if you
up.
got to
Go ahead.
The real party is
Labor Day.
no, the circle game. I forgot it. I keep forgetting.
Oh.
What?
When she's talking about the kids games, just so y'all know, we play Gaga Ball.
Gaga ball. Hey, that came from Bob's Burgers.
Don't talk about it, but adults do join and kids run out of the circle.
So basically, here you
If
go.
he
You've got
joins.
father and daughter on here, and you're hearing the daughter talk about how much fun it is. So anyone in the
We got the
recovery
hammock
circle,
for the kids.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
kids got a little spot where we've got a bunch of trees where the kids can put up their hammocks and hang out. Now, mind you, this is a family disease. I don't care who says it isn't, but it is.
Well, yeah, it
Our
was-
kids are affected from
Well,
this.
and
so-
anyone listening, I know we have people listening who aren't comfortable bringing their kids around some of the rooms or what have you. This is not that. This is a family event.
This
and
is
it's
geared
clean,
100%
fun.
for
Yeah,
family.
and it's clean and fun. You don't have to worry about your kids seeing someone getting all fucking twisted up and there's fighting and this and that. This is not what that is. And you're all welcome. Everyone's welcome to show up. So reach
Everyone's
out.
welcome as long as they leave their drama on the pavement.
Yeah, I like that. Drama,
Leave your drama on the pavement.
Yeah, that's
when you
right
turn
at the
on
dirt
that
road.
dirt road, man, you got a mile and a half. Just
that-
think about it, a mile and a half at
get
10
your
miles
bullshit
an
in the
hour
backyard.
to get your head right. So when you get up there, that no matter what, we're all there for the same reason, to carry a clear message to the next person, addict, alcoholic, suffering. That's it. We're just there to carry somebody through one of the toughest weekends of the year.
So-
Memorial Day
Yeah.
and Labor Day weekend were the 2 trigger weekends for me when I was drinking.
Yeah, it's a
Fourth
party
of July,
weekend.
4th
I
of
mean,
July
yeah.
was another big
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
We
yeah.
used to do a 4th of July get together, but it got too much, so we don't do that one anymore.
Well, and there's anyone in these rooms, anyone in this community knows every single holiday there is something going
Every
on.
weekend, not
Yeah.
just holiday, man. If you ain't got if you're not doing something on a weekend in recovery in the summer in Minnesota, your recovery's suffering, dude.
Yeah, that's on
you
you.
better get out of your circle and find some shit
Yes.
because there's shit going on.
Yep, 100%.
Especially in Narcotics Anonymous. I don't know about AA so much. I mean, the AA's got their pig roast and their daily events, but I'm telling you, man, they are weekend events in NA. And they are all over the state, everywhere. And I know a crew that's just travels around, and that's all they do every weekend.
And that's what it is. All right, I'm as the host, I got to do what I do best. We're moving on.
Carry us on, brother.
All right. So listen, Jim, you link up with him. This all starts from this
From this
island gig,
get-together.
and that goes on for you for what, a dozen years or
A dozen or so, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
So
something
then
like that.
then you're staying really involved with all this, and I want to move to motorcycles. When did you start riding?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
My dad gave me a Harley 4 years ago. So I gave up riding when I had kids.
Okay.
I sold my bike, got a boat.
Okay.
Never picked up a bike again until my dad started riding, and he went out and bought a new bike. And he said, he called me up one day and he said, do you still have your permit? Now, mind you, me and my dad had a great relationship. One of those fuck you, don't call me
Oh,
relationships.
one of them. Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yep,
we
yep.
had, you live your life, I'll live mine, just don't get in mine.
Right. Okay.
Type relationships for years and years and years. Like we didn't talk.
Right.
And very little. So my dad calls me out of the blue one time and he goes, hey, you still got your motorcycle endorsement? And I go, no, I gave that up years ago. He says, well, you should go take your permit test. Give me a call. All right, whatever. So I go, next available day I had off of work, which was probably 3 or 4 weeks. Go and take the permit test. Call him up. I go, hey, I did it. I got it today. He's like, really? I was like, come over. I'm like, all right.
And this
He's
is
all
out of
excited.
character. This
He's
is
all
out of
excited.
character
My
for
dad
what?
never called
Okay.
me and did things like this. So Greta will share
Yeah,
with
she
you.
says
She
Grandpa,
knows.
no.
Grandpa was not a part of my life.
Okay. Okay.
Or mine.
See, I
or
know
her-
this.
or hers.
If you don't remember, it was after one of the first times we rode together. You kind of told me this story when we were having ice cream at that drive-in by
Correct.
up by
Osceola.
Wild Mountain.
Yep.
That drive-in there, whatever. So, yep, that's why I wanted to hear this. I'm
Frosties.
glad you talked about that. Yeah, you're
So-
right. Frosties.
So my dad calls me. He says, come on over. So I drive over to his house, and he tosses me the fob to a 2011 Heritage that he had bought. That Harley Davidson said that they weren't going to give him enough, that he didn't feel he was getting his money back out of it, so he wasn't going to turn it in on his new one.
Screw you guys.
So he paid cash for his new bike, and he paid off his old bike already, and he threw the keys at me, and he says, let's go for a ride. All right. So on the bike we go, we take off. We rode for 245 miles. We never talked to each other I'm telling you, we never had a better day together all
In
my
your
life.
whole life.
In my whole life.
In that day.
And we didn't share more than 3 words together for most of it. Know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
It was something that was something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was something.
something.
Right. We did stop and have a dinner. We stopped and had a burger. And then we got back to his place right before dark. And he says, so you got a choice. He says, either you ride your bike home, ride the bike home and get your old lady to come back and get the car, or I follow you home and you ride bitch back here to get your car.
So he just gave you
He
the
just
Heritage.
gave me the Heritage that day.
We still ride it.
And
we
rode it today.
Yeah, I saw you pull up.
Well,
He
that's
picked me
my
up.
Road King I got out here, but
He
I
picked
have
me
Oh,
up
you were on
at-
it earlier.
I was on it earlier today. I picked Greta up in the Heritage.
It's my
today.
first bike I ever rode on.
It was the first bike Greta ever got to ride.
All right, so then I'm gearing us up to talk for the ride. And I know we've been talking about you getting roped into things all
So-
along the way.
So mind you, the Heritage. We'll stay on this
Yeah.
page here because this
Come on.
gets me to 2218 Ride
Yes,
for Recovery.
that's what I want. You ride it through it.
So through this relationship with my dad, I get introduced to John Anderson, who many of us know, fellow member of AA, NA,
Yep.
CMA, whatever. He's John A.
Yep.
He shared one day about the 2218 Ride for Recovery. And I'm like, all right, well, he didn't actually go on the ride, but he just shared this event. So I was like, all right, well, I Googled where 2218 is. And I jump on the Heritage and it won't start. So I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing this weekend? He says, I'm fishing. I go, can I come steal your bike? The Heritage won't start. Batteries, Dad, need new battery, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, come on out, grab it. Leave me your car. Do whatever you got to do. I'm going fishing with your uncle.
Right.
So I go out and pick up my dad's. Now, mind you, this is his brand new dresser. This is his baby.
This is yes.
And and I come down and I ride the ride. That year we went. It was the second annual.
second annual?
So we went around Lake Mille Lacs and came back. We got caught in the rain. Bunch
Yeah.
of stuff happened.
Yeah.
Whatever. I gave my vest to some gal who I didn't get back for 7 months. blah, 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 because she was cold and, and I felt like I needed to. And, you think maybe you should get her phone number when you give her your vest. Whatever. I didn't. Anyway, a member of 2218 actually got me that vest back almost a year later, just in time for the ride.
The next ride.
So that ride introduced me to Scott and Cheryl Larson. Scott at that time was the president of the 2218, and I really didn't hit it off all that well with Scott. He's a pretty quiet guy.
Yes,
Doesn't
very
share a whole
reserved.
lot.
Yeah.
Kind of stuck to himself. But
Reserved.
me and Cheryl are loud, proud, and we like to party. So yeah, we kicked it off because right back here in the parking lot, we're dancing and having a good time and whatever, and I really enjoyed the time. I really enjoyed the day. And I said, what would make this even better is if we had a pancake breakfast in the morning. And she says, well, how would we make that happen? And I said, well, I can bring one.
Right. I can bring it to
I
it.
can bring one.
Were they meeting at St. Paul Harley before the ride then?
No.
They weren't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So the plan was to do it right here in the parking lot.
Right.
And that was the first year that I was going to do it. I was going to do it right here in the parking lot and just leave my truck and trailer and everything right here and not have to worry about it and just leave, go on the ride, come back, pull my bike right in the trailer,
Boom, bada,
go
bing.
home.
Yep.
Anyway, through that year, I get a call and say, hey, can we make St. Paul Harley that place? Because that's where we're going to start the ride. And I'm like, oh, man. So anyway, not knowing anything, I get to St. Paul Harley, and I'm obviously, because I'm just kicking this event off in the morning, nobody else is there but me, not even the employees at St. Paul Harley. So I'm like thinking, well, the pavilion's the best place to be, that pavilion to the lake side of St. Paul Harley.
Was it
So
the east side of it?
Yeah,
Yes.
west side. East side would be where we do now. The east side would be on
that's how I
the
said
parking
it.
lot
I'd
side.
never been. I wasn't there during the west side of it.
Yeah, the east side would be where you set up
Yep. Yes.
before, which is where we set up now.
Yes.
On the concrete where it's nice and solid.
You guys were on the other
We were
side
in the
before?
grass.
Okay.
That's where I set up the first year.
All right.
I'm telling you, it was great, all except for nobody had a place to sit when they had to eat. So they all had to figure out where they were going to go sit. It was kind of chaos. Whatever. We were learning.
Yeah. Growing
And
pains.
and it kicked off, and we raised a few $100 for the ride, and for 2218 that day, I donate everything for the breakfast.
Yeah. Everything. All the way
well-
down to the Blackstone.
I bring the breakfast, everything except for the drinks.
Oh, the coffee,
The
the
coffee,
juice,
the
or-
coffee is usually donated either by
Didn't Harley
donation
had it,
or
or-
Harley.
Yeah.
Harley Davidson donated the coffee last year, and one of the meetings here brought orange juice
Okay.
and milk. I think maybe.
Yeah, I thought there's even more than that. Apple juice and,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
orange juice
Whatever.
and
There were-
milk.
one of the
whatever.
meetings
Yes,
here
yes.
donated that to the ride, which we're grateful for. Those
Mm-hmm.
of us that are doing this work are grateful for that because I don't provide that. That's just way more than I can carry and keep cold.
John, the guy you were talking about, John A. Thanks you.
Yeah, well, love you, buddy.
All right.
Love you.
Greta says
Greta
she loves,
you too, John.
Um,
John's way loved. He knows he is.
Yeah, he
I've
is.
been busting his balls to get in here.
he's my
before, but
buddy.
he's-
Oh, I should have picked him up. We should have brought him in.
What the hell?
Should've.
There's an open seat right here with John's name on it
You
too.
could have told me.
All right. So
Anyway, so then the next year, which was last year, right? No, there's a year in between.
yeah,
So
'cause
then
we're on
the next
fifth,
year,
So the third.
the third,
Yes. No, because the second was the first
third
one
year,
you went to.
the third year we did the pancake breakfast on the east side.
Yes, yes.
On the west side. Then we went to the east side.
That
the,
was
the
last
fourth
year.
year.
Yep. I thought
And-
last year was that set up. Everything was great.
And that's perfect because I can keep my trailer right next
Yeah.
to me. I don't have to take up 5 or 6 spots.
Yeah.
I don't have to park in the grass.
yeah.
I don't
Right
have
by
to-
their loading dock, kind
right-
of.
And
you
then I
put
can
the
use their
tent right there.
electricity. I use
Yeah.
my tent.
Yeah.
They're so good down there.
They are.
At St. Paul
They're the
Harley.
best.
They
Give us a little discount on some of the
on
clothing,
merchandise.
Yes.
If that day of, if
Yep.
you come down, and
I bought a $800 coat
we
for
had a
like
member that
$400.
bought a $20,000 bike that day.
Oh,
Was
really?
this-
Last year someone
last
did.
year, somebody
Was
bought
that
it.
yeah.
yes last year?
Last year, Tracy
I went
bought her
there.
bike last year.
Oh, really?
I
Greta,
was last
Greta
year.
was there too.
I
Yeah.
helped make
Service.
pancakes.
Yes, I remember. And yours were way better than Dad's.
They're made with love.
They're made with love. Yeah, I did the
I
show
know
right
the
outside the
secret
booth there, and I'm going to do it again this year.
100%. If you've never been to the 2218 Ride for Recovery, here's the thing. You don't have to ride a Harley.
No.
If you want to ride on the back seat and you don't have a back seat partner to ride with and you want somebody you can trust, come see me. I'll find somebody that's got a trustworthy seat to sit on.
Mm-hmm.
I will not put you on somebody that's going to put your life in danger, I promise.
There you go.
He
I will
won't.
put you with people that will care and be respectful.
Right. And this is a big thing. I've been trying to, I'm not conveying it the best, but I've been to the ride for the last 2 years. And both years I've owned 2 Harleys. I've not been on the ride. What I'm getting at is you don't have to own a motorcycle to partake in that day.
100%.
Yeah, that's like the motorcycle side of it is the name of it, sure.
It's just
and it's
an-
maybe
it's just a
10%.
small
Yes,
piece.
it's not
It's a small part of this
It's a
event.
family event. Everyone's welcome, and you don't need to be
And wholeheartedly, the majority of the things that are going on are right here at 2218.
Yes.
So kicking off here, I think music's kicking off around noon, 1 o'clock,
yes.
something like that.
We got a great lineup. I'm gonna
man,
after he talks about this, I'll read through it.
I know Timmy's going to bring you out the music, but the bands that come out here and donate
Zoo
their
Factor is on point. Oh yes.
the bands that come out here and donate their time to put on a music show, and the group of people that put on that music, and the members that come out and partake in sharing their talent is really where it's at. I wish sometimes that I didn't go on the ride so that I could hear
Yeah.
some more of that music.
See, and
stuff.
that's why I love using an excuse of, well, I got to do a podcast. No,
And I got you.
the ride's
We're
cool,
on
now,
to
but
you.
yeah, I know
We're
you
on
guys
to
are.
you.
I get called out every year for it, but
I-
it's a blast. Brad's Cook. I'm gonna just recap this days. It starts out there, by 8:30, 9 o'clock, you can eat some pancakes and sausage, and
So
then
at St. Paul Harley, we
Yes.
kick off the day. We start out with a pancake breakfast. I ask for a $3 to a $5 donation.
Yes.
Technically,
and I've
I
said
ask
this,
for a $5
yeah,
donation.
If you
to
can't
Alamo
afford it, I will
Society.
pay. Tim, the podcast guy, will pay for you. So show
up and
yeah.
eat my pancakes, man.
Yes.
I have yet to run out, and I want to.
Yes.
All right. I want to have somebody show up that says, "Bring enough people that I got to go back to Costco and buy some more stuff."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Greta will attest to this. It's a great way. First off, you're going to get a belly full. Second off, you're going to get to see one of the most coolest things in the world is to see that ride kick off.
Yes.
And see all these bikes pull out of St. Paul Harley. If you're not riding, you could be of service, because I do have some service work that needs to be done that day, because I do ride the ride. I'm part of the committee that puts that together, so I'm helping put on the route.
So
and
it's
all that.
from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. pancake breakfast and registrations with the $5 donation. If you have some issues coming up with the $5, talk to me. I'll pay for it. 9:45.
Just come see us.
Yes,
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. At 9:45, we do a mandatory rider meeting, which we say a little prayer over the bikes. We just talk about some safety stuff. We've got road guards, multiple road guards this year.
10 of them.
10 of them, and it's safety first on this. Just understand that it's safety first and service it's very involved with tons of people who are of service that day, and we're still open for people coming to be of service of this. So if you know anyone who wants to be
We
part of it,
need you to be of
yes,
service.
Yes,
Especially if you're a member of 2218. So just so
Yes.
everybody knows, I think 60 to 70% of the committee on this ride are not members of
Yeah.
2218.
It's just volunteers.
It's volunteers from other Alano societies and other places that I come down here. I'm not a member of 2218.
Right.
I've been to one meeting in this building.
Yeah, and that was what for Scott.
It was
we
for
just
Scott.
talked
It
about
was
that.
for Scott L's
Yes.
30-year medallion or 35 years. I don't even remember.
So they go out on this ride, and I'm not sure. Do you know the route yet?
I do not.
Okay, so
Not 100% nailed
from
down.
about at 10 a.m. that's kick stands up, and then at 12 p.m. here at the club the festivities kick off, and at that same time we got Lucy Liners hitting the stage. 1 p.m. the silent auction opens. At 3 p.m. Happy Wednesday hits the stage. At 5 p.m. Vic's on the barbecue killing it. Then at 5 p.m. as well we got Zoo Factor on the stage with Mike. Just it's great music, free music all day long. Well, no,
I think
I'm
we'll
wrong.
be
It's
eating a little earlier than that this year.
yeah, we've got the root beer floats. We've got all these booths.
Johnny Pop.
Johnny Pops, like so much food. And I was wrong when I
The
said
dunk tank.
shut up about that.
The dunk tank, Tim. Come on. Dunk
Did
tank
you know that
challenge.
We all
I
love
think it was
it.
like almost $800 the dunk tank brought in last year.
Yeah, I know.
That's huge.
PB sold $800 in 45 minutes. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
we
Curtis-
were slacking.
Matter of fact, yeah, you, me, Curtis, Bob, and Paul.
And
I
Paul.
didn't know you were part of it.
I bought $100 worth of my own tickets.
I know, and we still didn't come
I
near
came in
it.
last. I got a
Right?
bottle of syrup. That was my prize.
Dad
What'd you get, a
got-
plunger?
I got a plunger.
Yeah.
No, I thought you got the blanket. You got the
Maybe I
pink
got the
blanket.
pink
You got the
blanket.
pink
Well,
blanket.
you
because
did
you got
pink.
because you
Yeah.
got the
And then Paul, if you,
got
those
the
of you that
jersey.
don't know, he's got the jersey hanging up
What
in
did
the
Curtis?
in
What'd
the
you
Will Work
get?
for Recovery.
What'd you win? Dunk Tank Timmy. Yeah, Curtis. Put down what you won as what, second place? I think
I
Curtis
think
was.
Curtis was second.
Yeah.
Curtis or
Well,
or
Alicia's
Bob-
was out there
Bob
slanging
Ass.
them.
Or Bob Ass,
Yeah.
one of the two.
you got
And yeah, man,
They're
bring
wearing
your fun. If
tutus.
you guys want to be a part of this challenge,
Yes.
come on down and be a part of
Yes.
this challenge. I mean, you got to sign up. You got to sign a waiver in order to be a part of the Dunk Tank Challenge. Sell as many tickets for 2218 Ride for Recovery as you can. We will sell tickets. My son Jeff will probably be the ball boy again.
Yeah,
And-
it's a blast. It's a
wait,
blast.
And-
the ball boy, not that.
And Greta will be here to help fetch the balls.
Yes.
But yeah,
we
man,
got beanbags. I
we
mean,
got
it's
we
a
got beanbags going
kid
on.
friendly.
It's family friendly,
Yeah.
man.
And then we have 6:30. We have a featured speaker. It's not an hour speaker like we've done in the past. This way we've also got more music coming on. The All-Star Jam. The silent auction will close. On that silent auction, the stuff that's in that room, everything from cool ass motorcycle parts to homemade quilts to store-bought quilts to jerseys. That's where I got my asshole garage basket. Weekend getaways, dinners,
Paintings.
paintings. There's some of the coolest stuff at this silent auction every year. And if you and it's still open for people would like to bring
And donate.
Yeah, and
We're
donate.
looking for
We need
donations.
it. There's
a
also
lot
like
of
the-
recovery related stuff.
Are they doing 50-50
jewelries.
drawing type
There
deals?
will be a 50-50
Yes.
raffle.
Also, Curtis came in second place and got the silver jersey. Yeah. Yeah.
He got a silver jersey.
silver jersey. Paul's was white. I don't know. Speaking of that, too. Is
Anyway, we need to knock
Yes.
Paul off of his pedestal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those of you that know me that need to buy some tickets for me, y'all,
Yeah,
you got it.
yeah. Or the podcast.
I'm
guy.
telling you, this year I got a treat for everybody, y'all.
A surprise?
A surprise.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You can tell me that?
here's
surprise
here's
for
something
even you.
else. We were bringing up some
me?
stuff, and I wanted to. Oh, look at that! So. $20 in advance. So right now, reach out to me. You can reach out to Curtis, who you see
You can buy
on
them
here.
right downstairs. You can reach out
At
to
the front
myself,
desk,
Brad, my wife Heather.
Yes, there's
co-chair.
multiple people. $20 in advance, 25 day of, and you get these cool little wristbands. I keep my wristbands on my motorcycle. They're right on my mirror.
I put mine on my shifter.
yeah,
on my,
it's-
on my truck. So
It's cool. I wanted to also bring up something about. We've been talking a lot about Paul Birch. I was just down at Will Work for Recovery. They just leased 2 more rooms there. They got some big things happen. They came into some of these grants came through. He's gonna send me the official detail on it, but someone donated like 15 brand new computers down there, and they have
they have a computer class.
yes,
going on.
it's
yeah.
like a five. It's like $15 for, or no, it's $3 a class, and it's like 5 sessions, but it's some big things they're doing down there.
They're teaching you some program.
Yeah, some skills
some
on-
basic
yes.
computer skills so you can get better at life. And,
Yes.
and those of you that are in the recovery world, I mean, Will Work for Recovery is a big help out. Not only Paul and Caroline do so many things in
Yes.
the recovery world,
Yeah.
not just for their center, but
No,
also for
all- for
2218,
2218, for
for
New
Fridley,
Hope,
for
yeah,
New
all
Hope.
over.
They're a part of
Yeah.
so many things. Prior Lake. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Shit, they're the reason I went to Arkansas. We went down there for a battered, sheltered women ride.
I
And-
always say it like this: if my fingers are only in one little basket in recovery, I'm missing out, man.
Right, you're
I'm
missing
telling
out.
you,
That's a great way
I
of
got
saying
my
it.
fingers in so many places when I'm thinking about it. You know, they're
Yeah.
stretched out into so many different.
And
my
they're-
wife says I know too many people because I can't go anywhere.
Well, it
without
fulfills
running into somebody.
this second chance, this new life. Like
You know, we get off the plane in Florida and I run into somebody I know in recovery, and she's like, "How the hell do you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm gonna have a buddy pick us up. What are you
just
talking
like
about?"
Arizona. You went to Arizona, boom, you
and-
run into the same guy
yeah,
from World.
From
you
World.
you do know too many people.
And
Carolyn. All right. So Curtis, if you're looking at the feed, Curtis and Alicia are both posting some stuff. We do need donations still for the silent auction. And that can stem from anything, but like gift certificates are real good to donate. You can come right on down to the front. Reach out to me. Reach out to Brad, Alicia, or Curtis. You
And
can.
I'm certain anybody knows how to get a hold of Curtis and Alicia. They're a big part of this.
They're a huge
this
part of
fellowship.
this. So, yeah, we need donations for the silent auction so it can happen again. And we've got tickets. Carolyn is speaking at Saturday Night Live. Oh, just some information. Okay. August 15th, 7:30 p.m. Carolyn N. from Will Work for Recovery will be at the main speaker at Saturday Night
Who I hear
Live.
is celebrating some clean time today.
Who is?
Caroline.
Oh, congratulations, Carolyn.
Congratulations.
She also Curtis put up a hyperlink here, so you can follow that through. But there you go. We're in this recovery community, and I'm doing this show from 2218, and I've been coming here since day one of my recovery, but I've also been going to Will Work. I've also been going to New Hope, Alano. I've been going to Fox Hollow. Just this state has so much to offer. And then you start linking up with people like you're seeing that are checking in, or like Brad.
We got our homes, man,
Yes.
but we still got to have our friends as well.
Yes.
And we don't grow if we don't go out and venture into other avenues and don't find out what really is available to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? My recovery would be so much different if I would have just stayed at Anoka Today, Alano my whole time. And not come out of my closet and come out of my shell and went out and ventured out and went to these things, these events like Pig, Farm Out.
Yeah, but this is your life. I mean, this is what I try to talk about. Is
So this Ruth gal that I mentioned that I met at the Island gig many years ago, who was celebrating Clean Time today at Minac.
congratulations, Ruth.
Congratulations, Ruth.
She calls me a function junkie.
Function junkie.
So
Yep.
when I met her, that was all I ever seen her at. Well, that's because, I take my time off and make it most valuable for me, for my kids, for my family, for everybody around me. And so I try to get some balance in there with some recovery, some life, some family time. So I go to a lot of family friendly events, NAU, I don't know if they're still having Rith area had the Collinwood event for years.
Okay.
It was on Father's Day weekend. It was a really cool get together, family event. They had a pig roast, and I don't know if they're still having that. I have no idea what the Rith area is up to right now. Then we'd go to Pig. We'd go to the Farm Out event, the Island gig, the Vermilion Camp Out. They're all over. Recovery in the Sticks.
You're continuously being involved and getting involved in recovery events.
I can't name how many events
Yeah.
there are in NA. Every weekend there's an event going on. SMARB.
Are you
which
happy?
is in Mankato. Dude, I'm blessed today.
See, this
I'm
is
blessed
yeah.
with by not keeping my recovery in a box, by not keeping myself secluded to just AA or just NA or just CMA. I have a family that's incorporated in all these fellowships that are members and friends from all over. Like, not just here, not just in the state, I got friends in Albert Lee. I got friends that are all over the state, but as far north as the border, they can throw a rock and hit the Canadian border from her house, literally, and all the way down to the southernmost tip of the state. I got friends in this program because I don't keep it in a box, and I know it can be real easy to get into that rhythm of mundane life, and I'm just going to do what's necessary and do that next right thing and just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And that's how my life would be if I would have just did that.
Yeah,
But
yes.
today I get to get up, I get to live my life, I get to do these events, I get to share with so many people the gift that was given to me in this program.
Right.
The newcomer usually teaches me more than anybody's ever taught me. So I love to give a hug to the newcomer. And that's just been refreshed into my program lately, is to get back into greeting and back into that. So I've been recently made a new home group, which is hard for me Hard for me to make a home group
Yeah,
because
with
it's hard
your
to
hours
make
and
hard
your-
to make the
yes.
same meeting twice.
Yeah.
I've made that meeting. God has afforded me the opportunity to make that meeting about 60% of the time, which is a blessing to me.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday meeting, which makes it a little bit easier to make.
Weren't you
because-
just like basically living out of a hotel for
Oh yeah,
quite a
for
while
the
because
last
of
3
work?
months, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
it's got to be tough.
I
But-
live out of a suitcase. I live
Yeah.
out of a bag, my truck, and I see my
cooler.
wife very short passings. My daughter knows I'm
God,
gone
we're
a
like,
lot.
dude, we're almost wrapped, and we didn't even get to talk about this awesome wife of yours. But here's what I like to do: is like I'm gonna make you commit now. I know your schedule's hectic.
So
but-
you want to talk about the vacations and the life that this has afforded me? Is that what you want?
Yeah,
you
but
want to
it-
do
it
that?
won't even
5
do you
seconds.
justice. We won't do you justice.
5 seconds. I've been to 17. Well, my wife bought an Ice Castle Fish House 3 years ago. It's been to 14 states. In 3 years, it's been to 14 states. She bought me and my son a map of the United States. We made a vow to each other that the two of us are going to put a motorcycle in every single state, meaning that we ride our motorcycle in all 50 states together.
Oh yeah.
We're going to knock off 6 more of those during our Sturgis trip this year. I'm living life today. We're going on a Narcotics Anonymous convention cruise for the second
You
time.
leave on March 9th.
We leave on March 9th next year.
Yes.
Out of Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico. We're going to spend that Ruth gal we talked about a
Yep.
little while ago. Her and her husband are coming with us. That Jim guy I talked about, he's coming with us. My son and his son are coming with us. My mother-in-law is coming with us because they all support us in this thing.
Yeah. You
And
guys already got all your cabin, or you guys already
We've already
you
got the cruise paid for.
Then you're set
We're-
because I looked into it, and it's first come first serve with a lot of that stuff.
you can still get in.
No,
brother.
I know you can.
All right.
But the first come first serve benefits. So get on top of it. It benefits you.
You can't get a
cabin-wise.
balcony suite anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You can't get.
I know.
I did.
I know you.
I did.
You shithead.
I'm treating my wife to a balcony suite on this cruise
As you
because
and you've been
we
afforded
deserve
that.
it.
Yes.
I
You got
mean,
married
yes,
on an iceberg, bro. Come on. Them are
we
some of
got
the
married
coolest
in
pictures.
Alaska.
Let me tell this audience real quick. He showed me they got these pictures. He's got these pictures of him on getting married on
a glacier.
On a glacier, dude. With it's the baddest. Explain that. We'll go
So
long.
yeah, we can go long, bro. I'm not worried. And if you all don't want to listen, so
You
be
can
it.
you
But
can listen to it tomorrow.
We got married on a glacier up in Alaska. We went to Juneau, Alaska. It was epic.
Helicopter
We
rides
had a
and-
helicopter ride up to get married. Our tour guide, cameraman, and officiant, basically all of the above. He took us around everywhere in Juneau. If you've never been to Juneau, Alaska, all roads lead to the end. To the end of the road.
It's the end
You
of the road.
cannot
Go any
get
further.
there you cannot get there any way but by boat or by plane. So Juneau, Alaska is an island, and we flew into Juneau and we spent 7 days there, and I'm telling you, we've seen a third of it in 7 days. But there's only 60 miles of road.
See, and that's the business. That's the business.
More wildlife than I ever thought I'd ever see in my entire life. We got pictures in some of the biggest trees and woods. I mean, it was gorgeous. We got to boat ride up. We got to go fishing. Just epic, man. Just epic. And that's part of what working for the railroad has afforded me as well. You know
All right,
what I
and
mean?
also
And
if you could sum up one reason why all this shit you shared with us, what would be the main why do you get to do all this shit? 17 different the things all year long, where you're bringing your motorcycle, your son relationship, cruises, where you got married, everything. Break it down. Why do you get to do all this stuff?
well, if it wasn't for recovery, I wouldn't be here.
And is it that easy? Is that simple?
It's that simple.
I wasn't trying to put an answer in your head.
You didn't have to.
But I
could-
know
you
I
didn't
didn't,
have to
I
write
know
that
I
down.
didn't need to, but a lot of times it's like-
Recovery is the only reason why I'm afforded. I wouldn't even have this job if I didn't have recovery. Because do you think I can work on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
and you have to
and
be so
drink?
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Not to mention the other drugs I was doing. You get
You
what
heard
I'm
him talk
saying?
about CMA. You've heard him talk about NA. It's,
I'm qualified.
Yes,
I promise
yes,
y'all.
he earned his seats.
Like I said, the drink came first. The drink was always the start. That was always the
that was
carriage.
a lubricant.
But the carousel, if you brought it, I did it. You know what I mean? I just didn't care.
Dude, you're making fans out here. Marty L. He's from my
I know
men's
Marty.
meeting. My men's meeting. He's like, I gotta meet up with this dude.
I think I know Marty.
He's a little new. No, you know what? I love Marty. We'll go. That's a whole nother road we can go down.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah. After we end the show, Marty, it's go time on you.
I'm telling you, man, through the 12 steps of this program and working it, the fellowship, the people in it, and the mentors that I've had through my life working this program have taught me how to live it today. Not just be in it, but live it. Live it to its fullest. I live today like it's my last.
See, and here's a fact: is I know for a fact we've had about 45 different people check into the show while we were on the show, which it gets way more tomorrow because it's a library. People can pop back on this, that, and the third. I know there's tons of people who are on the fence.
Well, my whole family that listens to this is at Minac, so
Yeah,
we all know.
a lot of people are at Minac right now. But what I'm saying, a lot of people are on the fence about this. A lot of people are having
Man,
a
if
beer
you're-
while listening to this,
If
but
you're on
not
the
sure.
fence, if you're on the fence, give me a call, man. We'll talk about that fence and we'll tip you either way.
Right. And that's why I like to make sure with what you've shared when we get to that hope part.
Oh,
like,
I'm the addict that's going to sell it 100%. You want to know why? Because if you want to get high today and you got a good enough reason, call me.
Yeah,
I'll buy it.
I'll buy it for you, dude.
Not only I'm going to do it with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
If you got a good enough reason to get me high after 24 years, buddy, I'm with you, man.
That
Let's
scares the
go.
shit out of my mom whenever I say, I'm like, if someone can call me with
It's
a good
not a
enough
matter
reason,
of
yeah.
if we use again, Timmy. It's a
when.
matter of when.
When. I
We're
know,
addicts,
dude.
alcoholics, man. It's not a matter of if
You
we use
give me
again. It's when.
You give me a good enough reason, I'm buying the bag. That
And,
easy.
And here's the thing, man. It's been 24 years. Nobody's had a good enough reason.
Yeah.
Of course, normally they don't call me until they're already
Until
there.
they're already all wackadoodle.
And it's like, dude, you wasted it.
yeah.
You wasted the reason.
I've
Could
already-
you call me
yeah.
tomorrow when you get clean?
In this last 5 years, I've been through every reservation I told myself I'd use over. I never thought about it. Never thought about using.
I never thought I'd be able to go through 2 divorces.
There
Been
you
through
go.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Been through
And think about
kids,
the deaths.
grandkids.
The deaths.
I've had to say goodbye to my kids.
Yeah.
I've got kids that I've had to say, hey, you cannot be a part of my life
Yeah, we've talked about that.
because you're using and your choices.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And you know what? I got a relationship with them today. It's not very good, but it's a
But
relationship.
yeah. And you know how to handle
But
it. You
those
can walk
boundaries,
through life. Yeah.
those boundaries are solid for a reason.
Oh, we had questions, higher power stuff, what do certain things mean. So
Well, I
listen,
can share my higher power really
no,
quick.
No, because I want to go down a road that we don't have the time for. It's what it is. This falls on me, not you. What
It's
I'm
all
gonna do
good, brother.
while we're on the
I
right
will
now,
share really quick with recovery, with that
What?
whole thing about recovery is there's only one thing, and that's just do it.
just do it. Yeah.
Just do it.
This is a
It's
Nike
so
program.
simple. Just come in, sit down, find somebody that you can trust for a minute. That's all you got to do is trust them for a minute and say, "Hey, I need your help,"
I need your help.
and be like, "Can you help me get into this book?" And I don't give a shit which blue book it is. They're all blue, just so you know.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason. Because we're dumb people,
Yeah.
we got to open the blue book that's on the shelf.
Yeah.
We know which book not to open for years, and then the one, when we finally grow up and dust the dust off of it and find out what's really going on underneath, we start living. And I mean, the vacations are just a part of it. The blessing of being able to ride with my daughter on the back of my bike today is just a part of it. The blessing to be able to have her a part of my life today is just a part of it. But the reality is that if I can't pass this message along to somebody else, I'm going to lose it. And I'm going to get high again, or I'm going to drink again, or I'm going to do all of the above again. And I don't want to do that today. I really don't. Today, tomorrow I might, but today I don't want to. And it took a long time to learn how to live one day at a time. But living one day at a time is the only way to secure this. And you'll wake up one day with 5, 10. I mean, how many years you got, Tim?
Over 5.
You got over 5 years. Did you ever think you'd make it a day?
No, dude, I was jamming a needle in my arm. Is that a real question?
So
I know every day is a miracle
Man,
for me. Every day.
When I sit down on a picnic table with you and we're having ice
ice
cream, and I
cream.
look at you and I go, dude, I love you.
Yeah, no.
And I mean it with all my heart, man. I love you, brother.
Yeah. No, this is that one thing, like you said, just I don't know anywhere else in life I can go walk up to another man and say, dude, I'm hurting and I need some help. And I do that. I can do that today.
100%.
Whether my eyes fill up with tears or
Or
not.
I can call you on the phone.
Yep.
And no
And
matter what, dude, no matter what you're doing, if something's bad enough in my life, you're going to drop it.
Yep.
You're going to be like, I got you.
And that's it.
And
because
we'll
it
get
goes-
back to
yeah.
whatever that is later.
No, here's what I want to do before June 16th. If you're not working, will you be back on my show?
I will try.
If you're not working.
If I'm not working, I'll be here.
All right, so there I'm hitting enter. There you guys go. Multiple people are asking. So, because there's a whole side of this. We were doing your experience, strength, and hope, dude. That was going to take 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
Well, and we only touched it.
I
We
know.
didn't really even do it.
know.
'Cause,
I told my
I
mom.
didn't really share a whole lot of my childhood.
No, I
you
get
know,
it.
my
And I told my
abusive
mom before the show,
family
she's like,
and-
who's on the show? I was like, oh, this dude named Brad B. We're going to spend the whole time interrupting each other. Dude, he's just like me, and we'll get through nothing. And she's
we
like,
get nowhere, dude.
No, we got through quite a bit, but there's a lot more that we need to talk about. There is. So this
Greta,
is
what are you grateful for today?
Oh, look at this man's on it. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful that I got to spend time with Dad today.
100%, right? And why do you get to spend time with Dad? Why'd we go to a meeting? Why'd we stop by Will Work today? Why'd we ride all the way through the Twin Cities today to go out of our way to drive by somewhere? Because what? Because this is where it is, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for everything. I'm mostly grateful for my higher power. Second, the fellowship. Third and foremost is my recovery. Down the line, my family's in there.
Yep.
My job. It affords me to be able to do the things I do today. It affords me to be able to donate the things I donate. It affords me to be able to be a part of. It affords me to be able to tell that newcomer that says I can't afford to go too fucking bad.
Right. I got you. Here's cigarettes. Here's
Here's
this.
here's that. Here's whatever. I won't buy cigarettes anymore today. I don't do that. They're too damn
Right.
they're too damn expensive, man.
It's the difference
but
between
the bottom line of it is, you ain't going hungry. Not in my presence.
Nope.
Not at all. And I don't care. You know what I mean?
It's the difference between
if you
apart
come to
from.
me, if you come to me and you want this, we're gonna get you there. We're gonna get you in the hands of somebody that will get you there. If I can't relate with you, I know somebody who can.
100%.
And I'll put you with somebody that I think you can relate with, that I know will carry you to that point, that will get you where you need to be so that you can feel good.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about mental health. Oh, there's so much.
Dude,
stuff.
I mean,
I know.
The simplest mental health, man, put that sticker on your mirror that says I love you. And look at it every day until you and read it until you mean it.
You should see the wall back and behind my toilet. Every morning I got like 6 little post-it notes. I just read them every day. So, all right, guys. Sorry that we're cutting her down. Listen, you heard Brad talk about a lot of stuff tonight, and end of the day, we're talking recovery. We're talking this new way of life. If you're struggling, please reach out. Please reach out. There's tons of people who have checked on, tons of people supporting the show. If you're struggling, just please reach out. You've got 2 different phone numbers on there. You're worth the fight. You're worth it. You've heard talk to a guy who's running people over and getting pulled over and put in jail and needles and this and that. Life can turn around. Life can be great. Just fight for yourself. You're worth the fight, and you're loved. If no one's told you today, let me be the one to say it. I love you, and you're worth the fight. So if you're struggling, please reach out. Next week, we got Rick and Jesse coming on the show. I think we're going to be talking step 4, I believe, and they run that 4-step workshop every Wednesday at 6:30 out of 2218 in the annex or the auditorium. Whatever the case, we'll talk to you guys next week, and we love you, and thank you. Brad, thank you. Greta, thank you guys, and thank you everyone who checked in tonight and shared the show. Adios. You guys, that was fire. Brad.
Did we really?